Who did you expect? Who did you expect? Who did you expect? Who did you expect? Who did you expect?
Welcome to the east side. We don't wait for doors of opportunity, we just wait on when we gotta kick them in. Decatur, Georgia, or a den of thieves. Hidden leaves just to feed the village. Hidden leaves make them feel like ninjas. Niggas always keep the metal tucked till you run up, get your face cut. Got your brookins on the back end. Know too many niggas trapped. They be stuck in genjutsu. They see the world from a different view. Shadow clones cause they silhouettes. Hard to point out when they robbing you. You never know what be inside of you. You never know who you be talking to. Till it's 2 a.m. on the east side. Black as shadows in the nighttime. They don't wait on nothing but the right time. He ain't come around the corner. Shots fired, that's a nigga down. Sad, but this is normal around this town. I've been crying for my niggas found. I've been praying for my niggas down. Always looking for some progress. Try a nigga, he gon' regress. Locked and loaded that nigga ready. Turn your brains into red spaghetti. I be looking for God here. Hopefully see that I'm trying here. Save my niggas cause they really lost. Tell that my niggas before you write them off.
They say, Vic, don't you move on that side, boy. Both the crime rate and junkies stay high, boy. Scary niggas, they ain't see my vision and they see it, they want on the convoy. Stop by the corner store, know that it's kissing there. Let them watch windows, punk gas for a bag of chip shot with the water. But no, they got size, I don't need no patchouli. I just want water. Star bitch with my brothers like Pops and Earl. We gon' turn Keller Road right into a Melrose. I might turn Wesley Chop to a motherfucking church. They got them my people and teach them their worth. I don't need no appraiser, I'm knowing the worth of my property. They just owns out the cap, always a lot in the world, and I'm winning it all that construction on this side. I'm taking my time, now it's 2 a.m. on the east side. Up as fuck, no I'm writing rhymes. Late night, now the early morning, like an alchemist, I'm turning into something. Shots fired, that's your nigga down. Sad, but it's normal around this town. Cause I'm calling, say you beat the charge. He can't wait to come back around. Other cousin call, he almost out. Say he heard prices went back up. I confirm they gassed up. Told him chill, though, cause we next up. People be looking for God here. My job is to teach them look in themselves. Say my niggas cause they really lost. Spitting for the ones they breaking off.
Who did you expect?
Biggest the what? Biggest the what? Biggest the what? Biggest the Super Bowl.
Niggas so thirsty, don't put me in beef. Dissecting my words and start looking too deep. I look at the tweets and start sucking my teeth. I'm letting it rock cause I love the mystique. I still wanna give me a song where I be. Can't trust everything that you saw on IG. Just know if I diss you, I make sure you know that I hit you like I'm on your caller ID. I'm naming the album to fall off. It's pretty ironic cause it ain't no fall off for me. Still in this bitch getting bigger. They waiting on the kid to come drop like a father to be. Love when they argue the hardest MC. Is it K-Dot, is it Aubrey or me? We the big three like we started the league. But right now I feel like Muhammad Ali. Yeah, Muhammad Ali, the one that they call when they shit ain't connected no more. Feel like I got a job in IT. Rhyming with me is the biggest mistake. The Spider-Man meme is me looking at Drake. It's like we recruited your homies to be demon deacons. We got them attending your wake. Hey, how the gang got away from the bars, man, this shit like a prison escape. Everybody stepping from fucking and everybody breakfast, and I'm about to clear up my plate. When I show up, it's motion picture, blockbuster. The goat with the golden pen, the top toucher, the spot rusher. Spray this whole shit up, the crop duster. Not Russia, but apply pressure to your cranium. Codes automatic when aiming with the boy in the status of stadium.
Big as the Super Bowl, but the difference is it's just two guys playing shit that they did in the studio. Niggas usually send their verses back to me and they be terrible, just like a 2-year-old. I love a dinner with some fine women. When they start debating about who the GOAT, I'm like, go ahead, say it then. Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who you bitches really rooting for? Like a kid that had been from January to November, nigga, it's just you and Cole. Biggest the what? Biggest the what? Biggest the what? Big as the Super Bowl.
Hey guys, how y'all guys doing? It is Thursday night, so you know it is time for the the Man Williams takeover. We're about to have a good time over here. I know Aaron O is getting his water. He appreciate all y'all guys who sent the super chat. He got it FedEx to his house, another case of good water. So he'll be here in just a second. And I'm telling you that I'm excited to be able to say that this is good. I think this is going to be a show that I'm really, really ready to do. First thing we want to do is we want to say thank you to JJ Carter for being the top sponsor of last show. Shout out to JJ for being able to support us over here at the Aaron O Show. We definitely appreciate it. So let me ask you guys this question, chat, before we get started. How are y'all going this? How are y'all doing this Thursday? Are y'all guys doing good? I know it's the holiday season. Some of you guys are kind of slowing down in y'all world. How are y'all guys doing? How are y'all guys doing? I see it's a lot of people in the chat. I appreciate y'all guys coming over here early for us to be able to have this conversation. What's up, GBG Bear? What's up, brother? I appreciate you. Hey, Love, see, I saw you in the chat. Hey, Ricky, I see you in the chat. I just want to say hey to the people because I appreciate y'all guys coming up a little early. Hey, Nightish, appreciate you for coming over. Over to Robert. I see Robert too over here. We'll appreciate you. We'll appreciate all of you guys over here. I know I spoke to some of y'all guys in the chat. Peter, Investor. Hey, I'm hoping I'm not leaving nobody out. I can't do it as good as Aaron. You know, Aaron makes sure he get everybody. But we want to appreciate you guys because this is going to be a good show. It's going to be different. As you can see by the title, it's definitely going to look different and might be different from what people are used to hearing, but I think it's going to be great. How you doing today, brother?
I got my water. Why you can't compete? Where your water at? You can't compete.
I got the little, for just one second.
Every time. Shout out to Security Boss. Security Boss is in the building.
For just 1 second, let me tell you this. For 1 second, I thought that you had a bottle of vodka.
No. That's a bad investment in my body. Listen, but I will admit to you, I don't want to say worked with people because that might not be the best words to say. Let's just say I've been around people while they've been on the job. That don't mean it was my job, or maybe I was visiting somebody else's job. And let me just tell you, that water bottle was not no water in it. Was not no water in it, bro. Like people be struggling to get through work. I'm like, man, just quit, bro. Just quit. Just give it up. Because I'm quitting.
It's actually funny you say that because when me and my father used to go on cruises, the one thing you can take is water. So back when we used to actually drink, we'll pull the water out and we'll fill it up with vodka. And you could definitely do that. That's how we drunk. And so we didn't have to buy the alcohol packages. It was hard. Everybody think I was raised with a silver spoon, but we had to do what we had to do.
I'm gonna be honest. That's that real struggle. See, the South might have struggled a little bit different. See, when we came up here to the North, when we ran to get the gold rush, there was a lot of gold down there in San Francisco. See, so people was running there to get that gold. I don't know why y'all was still trying to stay in the South and experience this. I don't understand.
Let's be honest. I don't know why they stayed in the South. Because as soon as I had a chance to get out the South, I was gone. I left the South at 18 years old, and I've been back to visit. Like
you can't do my Southerners like that. You can't do the Southerners like that. Come on now.
Listen, I don't spend more than 2 weeks at a time in the South. I like going to the South. I like eating. I like having a good time. But I go for 2 weeks and I come back up here to Seattle. I ain't got no problem with that.
No, it's too much rain. I'm complaining about the rain we have, and it's light. So I know it's more rain out there. I don't want no rain.
But it's not the rain. Like, so when people said rain, I was thinking it's a Georgia rain. Like when it rains, it pours. Like you need like an umbrella. That's the type of rain that you're just gonna have. That's not what Seattle is. Seattle is like a mist. It's like a mist, a continuous mist in this side of the year. But you got to remember, we had the best summer. I think we had the best summers in America. 80 degrees at the most. No rain. Great state. It's definitely a green state because it does rain so much. So I love Seattle. And then,
And
you know,
hold on. Let me give my shout out to Ricky Webster. He sent a cash app to support the show. He said, much love and respect. Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you. And of course, always holding me down. My brother Peter, the investor, sent the cash app and said, let's get the show rocking. Because listen, and shout out to Peter. He said, I believe that's a super sticker. Shout out to you, brother. Me and see, y'all don't know, before the show, me and E-Man was chopping it up. And I was telling them about what I'm planning on doing for the conversations about my members, right? Because everybody asking about that. And I said, I don't know exactly, but I'm cooking this up right now. I'm trying to create this group here where we had these conversations. And Either Man, you know what Either Man said? I said, yeah, I'm going to have a public portfolio that I'm going to share with people. He's like, how much in that portfolio? I said, come on, you ain't even a member. How you trying to get a sneak peek what's in the portfolio and you ain't even a member? I told I said about $1,000. That's all you gonna know, about $1,000. So, so people that's asking about that, I'm working on it, guys. I have not even technically had a show off of Fight Club yet because it has not occurred and have not showed up. So I haven't even had that. But trust me, I'm working on it. It will be coming real soon. Okay, so don't worry. That conversation for my members, we are going to create our space where we have these conversations, and we're going to normalize reasonings for buying companies in the stock market, and we're going to create our own little group there, and everybody else that don't rock with us, they ain't going to be invited. So don't worry, it's coming. I got y'all.
So let me go ahead, in case anybody decide they want to give some members, let me put my comment in the chat, make sure that I do that every 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and put a hey there so I can get me a membership because I want to see. But I definitely think that it's going to be a stretch of some things to make some things happen. So cool. We gonna do a couple.
Hold on. My brother Peter Investor said, "Don't forget about the power. Don't forget to bring the power." That show was crazy about the power. I ain't got no power. I ain't got no power at all. So ain't no shame. I got the power to end the show though. Y'all saw that the other night. I was on for like 5.5 hours. I said, no more. I like 3-hour shows, but I dedicate the 4th and the 5th because we just be rocking out. So shout out to Keisha and Callie Bev. They in the building, and my brother Stan Autry. What's going on, brother? Now, Either Man, don't you tell him nothing. Don't you tell them nothing.
It is one thing I'm gonna tell them. Hey, guys in chat, I still ain't got this mic from Aaron. I think our mic fund is literally, I think it's like $3. So next time you send him a cash out, I promise you, it might take us a year. See, sometimes you just gotta be consistent. A lot of people don't make it in businesses because they're not consistent enough. So what I would say is, go ahead. This is what we saying. Let's get up to $7. We want to get up to $7. How they said it in the old Baptist church. We know we got 4 people in this chat that can send me over $1 right now so that I can actually get this mic. We're going to get this mic. It might be in 2024. Aaron, you buy me a mic. And the people in the chat is going to hold you accountable to make sure that you're not misusing they cash apps. So again,
I'm trying to find your $1.
Take your time. We got time. But I just want to
go. I went back and found one. This was on November 2nd. There go one for you. That's the Either Man mic. So I believe we somewhere around $3-4, I think, roughly. So anytime they say Either Man mic fund, I will associate.
So Peter invested. I don't got Cash App. Cash App said they don't want to do business with bald black guys, so they kicked me out of Cash App. Right?
As they should. Either Man think he can cheat the system without going to prison. I'm gonna tell on you, Willis.
So I don't got a Cash App, but Aaron told me if the people want me to have a mic, Aaron was gonna buy me a mic. That's what Aaron said. So Aaron said that if people want me to have it, we got cash. We got his Cash App. So he's gonna just send him the Cash App. Just say Either Man Williams. Because if you don't say Either Man Williams mic fund, it don't go to me. It go to Aaron. All those super chats is him. He need to know that that's my mic fund because I don't want to take nothing from my brother, but what's mine. And what's mine is I need to get a mic before I was gonna say before 2024, but tax season, I need to be getting the mic. And I told myself I ain't buying myself another mic. I'm gonna make sure that it comes from Aaron. So Aaron gonna go on to Amazon. He gonna swipe that.
It's the holiday season. Everybody running out of Christmas money anyway. Don't worry. And then listen, we got tax harvesting season coming up. That's already starting. So people already taking profits. They adjusting losses. So we got a lot of that going on right now. So don't even worry. They gonna get to you. You on the Christmas list.
See, the great thing about it is with Cash App, you can be anonymous. You don't even have to show people that you want to support my fund. You can send it. He's gonna cover your name, and it's just gonna be another person. You know what we talk about in this space? Supporting the brother. This is your chance to support the brother. This is a black business we talking about. So I definitely wanted to put that out there before we get started. I ain't gonna tell too much, but I want to talk about my mic fund. Did we get any donations?
Let me see. Nope, no donations for the Eat the Man Fund. I apologize.
Okay, one of these days we're gonna have it. So this could be different. I know
calculation is right. At each donation at $1 for the Eat the Man Mic Fund, we'll probably need 100. Though I don't know how much one of these mics, because I don't even have a mic yet, so I got to figure that out too.
Yeah, so we'll figure it out.
Because I'm tired of OG Speed running up here. You want me to turn my mic up? You know I got the God mic. I'm about tired of him running up on here with this mic. Always talk about this God mic. So if I can't get the mic that Patriarchy got, I don't want it. It don't even matter.
So let me ask you a question, because I want to go back and forth between these two topics, right? But I want to really understand what you think about people who are free thinkers. Do you believe that the world or the majority of the population want to have free thinkers around?
No. Now,
why not?
Let me make sure I understand what you mean. When you say free thinkers, do you mean like critical thinkers? People that think for themselves? Like I don't understand exactly what free thinkers mean.
I don't want to translate it for you. When I say the word,
okay, fine, whatever it means to me, fine. Okay,
it means.
Yeah, okay. I just want to be sure. I don't want to be dodging your question if you're trying to get it. So I would say the world, do they want free thinkers? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And why do you think they don't want free thinkers around?
Because they're dangerous. They challenge things too much. They tend to want to go against conventional thinking. They're critical. They're self-analyzing. They have an ability to think beyond just themselves, and so I think that's problematic when you want people to think like sheep.
I've noticed the people that complain about the sheep mentality, the people who complain about the followers, they typically want people to have the sheep mentality with them. Like they don't want, the reason they don't like the sheep mentality is because you are pushing somebody else's ideology. But if you support their ideology, if you on them, they don't want you to be a free thinker to think different from them. They typically want you to be a sheep to what they believe in. Do you agree with that or you disagree with that?
Of course, people want people around them that typically agrees with them more, especially if they don't like to be challenged.
Cool. So I want to play a video, and this video kind of talking about free thinkers, right? It's talking about how free thinkers think, and I want to get your real time reaction to what this man is saying in this video. So I'm gonna play it real quick. Let me know if you hear. Stop me if you don't hear it. Okay.
Notice why thinkers are hated when they're alive and loved when they're dead. Google Malcolm X articles and read what people were writing about Malcolm X when he was alive. Then Google Martin Luther King articles. Read what black people were writing about Martin Luther King when he was alive. Black people. Google Muhammad Ali. Just go and read what black people said about him when he changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. If you think for yourself, sir, and you lead, and you have the courage to speak your truth, you must expect to be hated and expect to be misunderstood. The only thing people hate more than the truth is the person who speaks it. It's not a black thing, it's a human thing. What did the Europeans do when the first scientists came out and said the world is not flat, it's round? They burnt them. truths that we accept today. Oh, everybody loves Elon Musk. He's such an innovator. 10 years ago, you guys were saying he's stupid for building electric cars. So could you imagine what would have happened if Elon Musk gave up just because a few people didn't like him? I genuinely get worried when people like me because I am almost sure I'm doing something God doesn't want me to do. Because if it's the thing God wants me to do, they are not going to like me. I would rather be loved by my God than loved by man. Haven't you ever?
So what do you think about that video that you just heard, Aaron?
I think it's fairly accurate as far as people despise the truth to a large degree, because I've experienced it at high rates when say the truth. I've even been offended by the truth. Before I adjusted the way I receive information, it used to frustrate me that people didn't agree. Like, I know what I'm saying has to be right. So I know if it took a while for me to adjust and really understand the importance of not so much critiquing the messenger and understanding the information and not being so rejecting of it, because you too can be. Most of us speak because we think we're right. Let's just be honest. Most people ain't speaking because they think they're wrong. It's because they presume that they're correct. And it's hard to hear that you're not. You really don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong. That offends people. Me, it don't. If someone tell me you really don't know what you're talking about, you're wrong, I probably could be wrong. The only time I get offended is when I say, no, I'm factually right. If I say I'm factually right, you might want to leave me alone. But other than that, I could take it. But I believe it's very difficult for people to hear the truth, especially if the truth changes or alters the reality in which they wanted it to be. So if they wanted something to go a certain way or happen a certain way, and then you profess something to them, and in order for them to receive it, it has to change what they were previously viewing prior to that knowledge. Yeah, they are very rejectful of it. So I don't know if when he said if God delivers a message to me and people reject it, then I know it's the truth. I don't know about all that. I think that's getting a little extreme, but you know.
Well, I was sitting down with my mentor, and he told me, if you don't have haters, you're not doing the right thing.
Why would a mentor tell you that? I'm not knocking your mentor. I'm not. But is he 32? Because I mean, what I want a guy with the sage beard when I pull up AOG mentor, teach me. Sage beard. I don't need him cursing a lot. Like people come on these panels with all this knowledge and all this cursing. Now, I will agree to this. Cursing is a sign of happiness. You're genuinely probably happy with who you are. But it is a sign of lower intelligence too. So two things could be true. If you can't find a way to accommodate the high frequency of you cursing instead of being able to use different words to express yourself, it don't mean you're not smart. I'm not accusing you of that. But the studies say certain things, but you are definitely happier for your cursing. So please be happy.
So I'm curious. I'm really curious.
No, let me finish my sentence. I want the sage beard, the old gray beard. When I walk in and the OG give me the game, I want him to speak softly. Yes. You are.
But hold on. What did that have to do with cursing? See, Aaron is really good on staying on topic. What did cursing have to do with what my mentor said?
No, they ain't got nothing to do with your mentor said. I'm talking about people that be coming on here cursing all the time. I don't get yo. I don't know why I said if you ain't got haters, something wrong. Yo, that be OG. Put the sage beard on. What you doing?
Let me ask the people in the chat. Maybe I'm off. So the people in the chat, if everybody liked you and you the most likable person, and you got nobody hating on you, do you think that that's a sign that you might be doing something wrong? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with me. Put a 2 in the chat if you agree with Aaron. I'm just curious. See, now you got them talking about cursing. We wouldn't even talk about cursing, but you had a moment to have your squirrel moment. So listen, I start studying things. You know, when we start looking, when we really start looking at how the government has set up their system, the system is designed for us to limit as many free thinkers as possible. Do you agree with that?
Of course. We need people to fall in line.
So I want to play this thing. So this is a story, it's kind of like a parable, right? So I want to play this video, and I'm curious to see kind of what you think about this video. And I'm just going to play the sound really quickly, okay? So I want you to tell me, I want you to draw kind of what you hear to see if you hear, because I think this is kind of how the government set up its systems and its food stamps and different things like that. Well, I want you to play it and listen to this video and tell me what you think.
Mouse was put at the top of a jar filled with grains. He was so happy to find so much food around him that he no longer felt the need to run around searching for food, and now he could happily live his life. After a few days of enjoying the grains, he reached the bottom of the jar. Suddenly, he realized that he was trapped and he couldn't get out. He now has to fully depend on someone to put grains in the jar for him to survive. He also may not get the grain of his choice, and he cannot choose either. He now has no choice but to eat what he's given. A few lessons to learn from this. 1. Short-term pleasures can lead to long-term traps. 2. If things come easy and you get comfortable, you are getting trapped into dependency. 3. When you are not using your skills, you will lose more than your skills.
So let's just stop at those three things, right? Do you believe that you can kill the free thinker if you can make him dependent on you?
That is a really, really good question. Do I think I can take away somebody's normal day-to-day thought process, free thinking, and then make them dependent on me, and that will kill off their ability to be a free thinker slowly but surely? Yeah, I think it can. Because I think if you get into a position where you don't have the ability to formulate thought because you're constantly worried about too many other things prioritize over it, too much chaos. Like I believe chaos is a primary thing where you're struggling to basically float because something's always tugging at you. So you're always constantly grasping for air. I think it's very difficult to think in those moments. And most people are constantly doing that, for the lack of the analogy. So yeah, I absolutely believe that can be done. I do believe there are some people that can be defined and push it off for a long time. But most people, after a while, if you get to them and make them dependent on you, you'll take away their ability to be a free thinker for the most part. I do believe so.
So you believe if a person's dependent on you over a period of time, they will lose their ability to freely think for themselves?
Over time, yeah. When we talking dependency, I don't want to say definitively because it depends on, just because they're dependent on you, what type of environment or scenarios are you placing them to? Because they can be dependent on you, but you still allow a certain level of freedom for them, even though there's a level of dependency. So
absolutely. So what we're going to do, we're going to drop this link because I want to have this conversation with multiple people. I love the 6 people panel. So the first 6 people that comes up, that's who's going to actually be a part of the panel. If you don't make it past those 6 people, hey, you can watch and definitely tell us your thoughts throughout the chat. But I'm curious what you just said, right? So Aaron's going to drop the link for us really quickly. I'm curious in what you're saying because I'm going to let you be free. I'm going to let you have a union. I'm going to let you go on strike. I'm going to let you go to the bathroom when you want to go to the bathroom. I'm going to tell you got 24 days of vacation days, and no other company is giving you those vacation days. So that's giving you freedom to go live your life. But when we really look at these jobs, they tell you what schools you can live in. What schools your kids can go to, the type of house you can live in, how long you can go on vacation, when you can go on vacation. How much freedom do you believe? Because when you say long period of time, how many free thinkers you think have the ability to have a job long term?
That's a good question. Because if you're a free thinker, you know better than to be stuck in that job for a long time, I guess. I don't believe most people are free thinkers, but it's not ultimately all their fault. I think we're born into a game. I tell people all the time they never negotiated with me when I was born. Hey, are you okay with the rules of life? Never. They never ever negotiated with me. I was born into this cycle. So at some point, you try to find your way out of the matrix, but there's a lot of steps that you have to do in order to do so. Most people are not free thinkers. I don't see that changing no time soon.
That's because I was asked. People asked me this question, and people thought I was crazy, right? I said I didn't understand when I went to college why they did not have a course that says how to become a millionaire 101. I didn't understand it. Like, I was like, why don't they talk about the things that free thinkers think about? And the question that I ask you when we having this conversation is, do we want free thinking in these YouTube spaces?
Well, the question would be whose desires, right? I admire free thinkers. They're not necessarily they're not going to cause much issues to me in life, right? But in a general sense, I don't know. Give me a more specific question. Are you speaking towards content creators? Do they want free thinkers? Does YouTube want free thinkers? Like, well, be a little bit more specific because it's hard to. Because I think you like free thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
I like free thinkers. This is why I allow people to slander me and say all kind of craziness in the chat, in my own chats about me, because I like for people to feel free to say what they want and what they believe, even if I know that some of the things that they say can actually influence other people, which is not really smart, right? You know, you don't want people influencing things in a negative way against you, but I think it's wrong to not allow it. So, but a lot of people, like, they don't play that. You say anything wrong with them in their world, you getting up out of there. So,
well, I'm, you know, I like going back. I know this is not your thing, but I like going back and listening to past lives. Like, when I throughout the day, I get you. That's not you. But what I like to do is I like to sit down, especially like moments that I was on the panel, and I would listen to something I say.
Yeah, that's hubris.
And I see a whole panel reject what I'm saying, like not even open to even maybe understanding the perspective. And it's almost like we have this game mentality when free thinkers come around. It's almost what we call the crab and barrel mentality. Let me pull you back in the box. Do you think that that's an over exaggeration of what I see?
Absolutely not. If people don't like you, they really don't want to hear what you got to say. I don't dislike many people, and I probably safe to say I probably don't dislike anybody really. There's a few people I could give you like, do you like them? I'm like, no. But for the most part, I don't even have an opinion of them because I could care less about them. Yeah, but I also know that that's part of reality. And if you're smart enough and you're aware enough to know that that impacts the way people think, you have to adjust for it. It's on you, not on them. If you realize you're a free thinker and they're not, then you have the ability to make an adjustment in order to possibly change your language or how you impact people to get a switch in their perspective against you. If not, you got to give it up because they're not about to.
So I believe that it's a lot of free thinkers out there. What do you think we do to free thinkers at a very young age?
That's a good question. What do we do to free thinkers at a young age? We institutionalize them, if you ask my opinion. We put them in a system. We have them do the same things that other people do, repetitive things. I don't know. Things like that. That's what I would say. I think you find a way to put them in society, and society has plans for them, and they want you to follow this process. So we kind of put them in the system in a lot of ways.
I want to play this video because I believe we hear this in a lot of classrooms, right? We talk a little bit about the child that is what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like what is the word I'm looking for? The learning disability, the child that we believe have a learning disability.
Like ADD or ADHD or something like that.
Yeah. They call it like he have a learning disability. He can't think like everybody else. Every time someone says that someone have a learning disability or a person, they're saying that he is not the same as the majority. Do you agree with that or you disagree with that?
Whew. I agree with the thought of it. I'm not a like I don't know the science on that of how they come to that determination of saying we've identified this person with this learning disability or whatever the case is in comparison to the normocracy of what other people do. I don't know if that's how that's diagnosed. So, but if it is to something to that degree, then yeah, they're probably, it's a comparison to the rest of kids in their class, their age group, and what they normally do. And they're saying you're not capable of it or you do it differently. And so that's probably how I think they might diagnose it. So I would agree with your statement.
So yeah, so I think what they say I have a group of kids, they're inside the box, they're following the rules, and I have one person that is outside of the box. What I would list as the free thinker. I have a teacher that said something that I thought was just so amazing. I'm gonna share it really quickly, and I want to get your perspective of it.
The slowest children in your class. How many children know the rap songs? And they all raise their hands and I'll say them for me. I says, good. If you can do that, you can learn the Canterbury Tales in Old English too. I don't know half of what those rap songs are saying, but they know every line. What makes us think then that they become such learning disabilities when they get to school?
So if it's proven that they can learn, if it's proven that they can comprehend, why do we criticize them for thinking differently?
Well, I don't know why when you say we criticize, I don't know if teachers or people actually criticize, they identify a difference in what they consider normal. Or why are these people making up words? You can look up the word and see it's defined. All right, there's actually a word. I don't know. I believe there's that's a good question because I don't want to be wrong in the sense of characterizing why people do something when they don't actually do that. Are you saying the teachers identified and it's a negative thing, or are you saying us, the other pupils, the other people in the class, basically will make fun of them if they're in another type of class?
What I'm saying is society at whole. Society at whole, I think the goal is the people that are free thinkers, right? These kids that we think have learning disabilities, all these different things, ADHD, right? They say our goal is to put them on some type of drug, on some type of medication to slow them down.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when we start, and this is something that's really close to me because me and my father was having a conversation. And he said, hey, you know that they wanted to put you on medication when you was younger. And I told them they was out of their mind. So shout out to having a good father. And he said, I knew I just had to be able to give you something to do in your idle time. Mm. So my senior year, I played 5 sports. I worked a full-time job, and I played the chess team. I volunteered, and on top of that, I had like 6 or 7 different things going on. Instead of them slowing me down, right, because they said I was moving too fast, why don't we actually find a way to fulfill that person's gift?
Yeah, that's an easy answer. That's an easy answer. The primary reason is society does not care about specific individuals. Hey, you are Eda Man Williams. We only, you are student A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You're student G. We got a whole bunch of other students to focus on, and they're not showing the behaviors and issues that you have in comparison to how our curriculum works in this environment. You're the problematic one. You're the problematic one. So it makes sense for us to focus on the people that can run through our system without any problems, because this has been a proven method to get to develop people to get an education. Whether or not that's right or not, that's a different story. So I know why they don't spend their time focusing on you. It takes away from the focus of everybody else who can follow the criteria, the curriculum in which they have there currently.
That kind of makes sense. So you said that we want to focus so much on the majority and not give that type of energy to the the minority.
Yeah, because you're looking at a teacher that has their own issues with life, because they're a human being, right? They're having problems, and then they're coming to an environment in which they have to acquiesce to a curriculum, a standard, a process, a system there. And you come in there, all 22 kids, they already get on their nerves because they already mad about something in their life, student loans, they already pissed off. And they need to get this done so they can get their check and pay their bills. And they come to school and you running around talking about, telephone, you running around. I want to have fun. The rest of the kids sitting down. You taking away from their ability to focus on them. So I think that's problematic.
Hey, Jeremiah, how you doing?
What's up, Eda Man? How's it going, Aaron?
Pretty good. I saw you earlier. You was over there on this
with
might
DJ
be
Hamp, right?
Yeah, DJ Hamp channel. Yeah, I thought I saw you earlier. I was just trying to make sure. So let me ask you a question. What do you think? Do you think that the world they fear free thinkers?
I think the problem is that personally, I think we start school too early. And I understand why we have to do that. You know, parents have to synchronize their like childcare schedule with with their work schedule and everything. But I think a lot of students will benefit if they just started teaching them at say like 8, 9, 10 instead of throwing them in school at like, preschool age and stuff.
Hold on. So I'm interested. So you believe that most parents have the educations, they have the ability to educate their kids to 8 to 9?
Yeah, because like a lot of the things that like kids learn, you could like learn around the house. Like I think those skills would be more beneficial, like learning how to like conduct yourself, how to be polite and everything, and like civil around other students. A lot of like the earlier school grades, like say grades 1 through 3, it's a lot of disciplinary stuff that goes on around that time that could really be like mitigated if we keep people at home.
So I think you give parents too much credit. I don't think if we look at the majority of the population, I don't think that they're educated or smart enough to be able to teach their kids up into that. That's why we start at 5, right? But one thing that I would love to do is find a way to be able to recreate a school, like recreate what school looked like, right? For example, I know a lot of people against these type things. I believe that men and women should not go to school, especially at younger age. When we talk about high school, we could talk about different, but I think from 5 to maybe 15, men and women should actually be separated. What do you think about that?
I agree, but I think the problem with it is like there's benefits to like having people like I think it's called like co-op or like co-ed or something like that, for having them co-ed. Because if you separate them from such a young age, and then like when they finally do, like what you're trying to say is that at 15, that's when like the hormones and stuff start kicking in. So I think that might be a bit of an issue if you introduce them like, at that age.
So what do you think the benefits of having men and women around each other?
You're talking about in school, or like once they're like at teenagers and adults?
At school, I mean, from up until 15, what is the benefits? Let's say 13, because I think you go to high school at 13, if I'm not mistaken, 14 or 13, somewhere around that, right? But what is the benefit of having men and women in the same school?
You can learn like how to, I guess, interact with the opposite sex a lot easier than, like I said, once your hormones kick in. I know at like 13 and stuff, guys are probably focused on the wrong things. It's harder to pay attention in class, especially if you're just now being introduced at that, like, at that stage of sitting next to each other and having to have lunch at the same time. But I think the benefits going forward is you're kind of already adjusted to that, if that makes sense.
So hold on, you think in our current system, I want to make sure I'm hearing you right, because I don't want to misquote you. You think since they're around women their whole, because it's currently they're around women the whole time, right? And
Pretty much,
you think because they're around women the whole time, they are adjusted by 13?
No, they're not adjusted, but they're more used to like already like being in the same environment as them. Like, okay, picture like Mulan, for example. Have you seen that movie, the Disney movie Mulan?
Yep.
Remember how like it was like a hard adjustment for people to realize like, hey, that's actually a woman and not a man. I think we'll have a lot more instances like that if we just throw them together at like, say, like 13, 14. They're gonna be like, hey, like that's just my opinion. I'm like, they're gonna be like, what in the world? Like, I'm trying to sit next to a person who I'm like now developing feelings for, and like I'm trying to understand like how to interact with as like a coming of age type of person. Whereas when you're already like adjusted to that, like say, for example, somebody had like males had sisters and brothers like as siblings versus having all brothers, and then you're introduced to having to interact with female cousins or something like that, or vice versa.
So this is kind of why I disagree with you, right? Because I heard what you said, and you said that the effect will be that men and women will later on have the effects that we're seeing now. Because right now we said that men at 13 don't know how to interact with women in school now. Do you agree with that, or you disagree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree.
So us painting the picture that it's going to be worse, I think it'll be almost the same because they're doing a really bad job at it now, right? So I know you might remember the class clown in your class, right? You remember the guy that was the class clown? Do you believe that was you? Let me ask you this question. Do you think you was doing it to impress the men, or you think you was doing it to impress the women of your class? To be honest.
If I'm being 1,000% honest, I did it to piss off the teacher because they would, call my parents and stuff. But if I said who benefited more, like who garnered more laughs, I think it was more so like my male, friends and stuff like that. So guys more so than the women, because girls want to like actually focus and like pay attention. Guys at that age, they don't really care about that stuff. Like to like actually pay attention and sit down and learn and stuff.
So you think it was the teacher? You don't think that you wanted to grow popular with the girls or the boys?
No, not for like not within the classroom, like being a class clown. Now, outside the classroom, totally different and stuff. Like guys play sports and they do all that, stuff to impress women. But within the classroom, I think it's more so from my personal experience. I saw the men trying to like just have more fun and like camaraderie with their fellow friends than trying to impress girls. At least I
will almost bet you my last dollar that you had a female teacher.
Yeah, primarily all female teachers almost.
I would almost bet my last dollar if I had a male teacher in that class, you wouldn't have did that craziness.
I was less of a class clown with the male teachers. I'd say that, yeah.
So when I'm saying split genders, I'm not saying that men are over here and women are over here. Yes, I am saying that, but I'm saying that you have male teachers and they have female teachers. And I think the boys will act better. Do you think that it'd be a better result of having men teach men and women teach women, or you think that it'll be a worse?
You know what? I really agree with that because especially at the younger age, like say like elementary school, I think the point you made earlier about like women like not just having a good handle of like how to like be the disciplinary like figure to men, so like they can't really look up to them like how you said they would another man, like a drill sergeant, of course, but having like Miss Doubtfire, like, nah, that's not going to do anything for young guys to like get disciplined.
And I believe if a man was to inflate his voice, he was to get upset in that classroom, I think those young men would be able to get in line. But like when a woman get upset and angry, I don't think that happens.
But do you think it goes vice versa? Like, do you think if it was a male teacher conducting female, students and stuff, do you think they'll have like the same effect?
I think males teachers would be good teaching female students. I think the risk is too high for the teacher, though. That's why I wouldn't put one male teacher over a female full class.
Okay. Like it would be like too hectic for him to like deal with like the emotions and stuff like that.
No, I think men are really good with dealing with women emotions. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the risk versus the award. I don't think the society that we're in now that we should put a male teacher in a class with 20 girls. That's just
okay. I feel you. Yeah, I got you.
That's just, it's just a recipe for disaster, right? So, and as we start having this conversation, do you think that free thinking is frowned upon?
Yeah, yeah, because one, for instance, like I think a lot of people, as you said before, like they'll see you, like they'll take the hater persona, and it's like you can also think you can learn from me. You don't have to hate on me just for me being an autonomous being and stuff like that. But it's almost like it feels like you going against the grain of society, and most people are challenged by that more than like promoting like individualism or like I said, just a free thinker mentality. They want you to be hive minded.
And do you believe that your father had the best for you? So like do you think when we start talking about this, it sounds like you said the teacher, a male teacher, you think will be able to control you, to be able to get the best out of you. Do you believe your father as the male have the best wishes or have the best outcomes for raising you as a young man?
Yeah, if he's like militant and he has like a disciplinary like factor about him, yeah. But not everybody's father's like that, like as you said before.
What if he's none of those things?
Then I don't know, because like it depends on like the locale. Like there's some fathers who like they don't want their sons to be better than them. So like that's problematic. But I'd say traditionally speaking, yes, fathers do want the best. They have the best intent for their offspring.
Okay. And do you believe that women can teach men how to be, teach boys how to be men?
Of course not. No.
Interesting. So when I really break it down, what I'm hearing, first of all, the kids that think out of the box, we're going to drug them. We're going to put them in a system where it's majority women led. We're going to have expectations for them to be free thinkers, men, but you also feel that only men can teach you how to be men. Is I'm kind of understanding that whole thing correctly?
Right. So I agree with that last part. Like only men can teach how to be men. But I don't really think that I like what you said before, like how you said we should split it at a younger age, like say elementary school grade level. Men teaching men, women teaching women, because you're right. Women, if they're in charge of leading these boys until like their, I don't want to say adulthood, but until like coming of age, like say like what a Jewish person would identify as a man at 13 and stuff. I don't think that's going to happen when you have all female teachers, like as you outlined that I majoritively have. But yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
So when do men learn what to be men? Because you, first of all, what I'm hearing, I just want to make sure I'm digesting this right.
Okay.
Most of your teachers, and I think most men, I'm just using you, most men have been around women their whole life.
Correct.
Most of the Black community was raised by women. They went to schools with women. They've been around women their whole life. When do you believe men are learning how to be free thinkers in men?
See, but here's the problem. I wouldn't like necessarily say that the two are like correlated. So for example, I don't think that we're teaching people how to be free thinkers, but the thing that we're seeing now is like men learning how to be men come from the brotherhood or come from gangs, whatever you care to join. So like the brotherhood, for example, when you go to college, you join a fraternity, or if you don't, like say at a younger age, if you start the gang route, then you'll join that to seek your brotherhood in a sense. And that's how they kind of learn how to be men. They don't really necessarily learn it like in the household.
But I think I will argue the point that it's too late. It's too late at 22. Well, some people are gonna say it's never too late to learn. Okay, cool. I'm not saying that. But I think that it's harder to learn at 22 than it is to learn at 7.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
You have an interesting way of thinking about this.
Wait, who, me or either man?
Me.
Oh.
E, because I'm letting him decide to get that conversation with you because I'm not sure exactly where you guys are going with this. So I'm just listening. But I'm saying in the sense of women are not trying to teach men to be men. If you really think about the complaints, is that men are the violent ones. They're the ones that causing all the issues. So doesn't it make sense to make them more softer, less prone to violence, things like that? Don't you think that would make more sense of that's what they're probably more likely trying to do?
That's probably what they're trying to do, but I don't agree with that because we still need men to be leaders, like and effective leaders at that. So
Why?
making them,
Why?
you said why?
Why? I want
That's
to
just
see
how. Oh, that's just how society is ran. So, like for example, when we
that's
don't
not
want to
free
send
thinking.
people.
That's not free thinking. I don't care if that's just how society is ran. So
That's
what?
true.
So society can't evolve and develop.
It can, but we still need to keep with, I want to say, basic tenets, like at its core. We still need masculinity and femininity. We can't deviate from that. Those still have to be the foundational tenets of like of an individual, I believe.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Sounds good. Sound like YouTube. Sound like YouTube. Masculine, feminine. Sound like YouTube. Now, I think.
Can I explain? Can I elaborate real quick?
Sure.
You still gonna sound like YouTube, but I gotta eat this food. Go ahead and explain to E-Man how you not.
Okay, so basically, let's just start with femininity. As you said on DJ Ham's show earlier, we had the conversation about T.I.'s son, for example, right? And how he wasn't like really supposed to go in the direction that T.I. wanted him to go in. Now he wants to, first he wanted to be a thug. I think his name is King. And then now he's like just completely veering off from what T.I. probably wanted him to be an example of. But we're telling T.I. like, you putting this in the music and stuff, you're conditioning your kid to do that. Not only that, you're not even like really being present in his life as a father should be. So basically, okay, let me get my thoughts aligned. I'm going to take it from the femininity perspective. Right now, DJ Hemp is doing a debate right now about, I think, Roe versus misogyny. And basically, everything comes down to what somebody's role is. Because in society, we all have roles. Do you agree with that, Edaman?
Yes.
Okay. And we might not want to use labels. We might want to move in like a direction where we're trying to take society and you can choose your own role. Like if you want to be the masculine, you want to be the feminine frame, it's okay. But we still need someone to have those type of characteristics where they're being, say femininity, they're being nurturing, right? And they're being more demure and catering towards the children. We still need someone to do that, whether it's men or women. We still need someone to do that. And we still also need the opposing force, which is we need someone to be the disciplinarian. We need someone to be the one to, jump on top of, the grenade per se, as in the Captain America would. And if we start blowing the lines, like as Aaron O is saying, like, I sound a little too YouTube, that's where we have a lot of problems that gets like, blended in, and then we don't really know where to place the blame. So I think if we start at a younger age, as I was saying before, we just remove the having kids like learning and stuff like that, in a structured environment, and they're more so modeling after their father. Even if your father's like stacking hay on the back of a back of a hog pen or whatever, you're still learning some type of skill from him. You're still learning, hey, here's a trade, here's a work, there's a duty for me to do. Or if you're watching your mom, for example, raise, say, your aunt's kids, or your nephews or nieces or whatever it may be, you're still learning, some type of role and some type of like presence that you're modeling after. Whereas when we send kids to daycare, they're not really learning anything but like, the theoretical stuff.
So the interesting part of this, right? This dialogue we had, you went from you believe that we should be co-ed and men and women should be in class. And it seems like you have shifted to you believe that kind of the ideology that I was actually talking about is that men and women should actually be separated. That's kind of where you shifted to. Do you agree?
I'm saying if we do, go down your route, they should be separated because that does make sense. But in ideal world, what I'm trying to say is I think we should like just promote school at a later date. So like say like 10 or 11 is when you start doing that.
I think you're confusing when he says we should separate.
Okay.
He's not going to separate you if you're at the grocery store with your mom or something. He's saying in school specifically, there are still going to be little girls and boys out in the world. You go to the park, you're going to see them. But in school specifically, there's a segregation there, is what he's saying. Am I wrong?
But are we kind of saying the same thing? And this is what I mean by that, either man. I get we're differing on, like I said, we should start school later, and you're saying that we should like have them, you know, in the classroom like earlier. But at the core of it, I think we're still saying the same thing. Where I'm saying it should be modeled by either a parent, an uncle, someone like, you know, working tangibly like in the field, or, you know, chaperoning and doing an apprentice type thing where you're discussing it in the classroom. But I still think we're saying the same thing. Men should be leading the younger generation of young boys, and then women should be modeling after for whoever wants to take that role of like the housekeeper. I know people want to blend the lines of who's going to be the stay-at-home whatever nowadays, but I think we're saying the same thing. You're just focused on the classroom.
I think the problem is our society is not designed for kids to stay at home to 8, 9. I know for a fact that I might be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, that you don't have kids, right?
No, I'm 25 now.
Okay, cool. The reason I say that is because when you say that kids should stay home at 9, I don't even think that that's realistic. Most people got jobs. Like, what are the kids
Right.
going to? What is a 7-year-old going to do at home for while you working an 8-hour shift? Like,
Well, see, here's the thing. This is why we need the family unit back. For example, when my mom was working and stuff, when she worked many shifts and everything, we grew up like, you know, not that rich or whatever. I don't want to say poor, but we didn't grow up like, you know, comfortable. I would be picked up by my grandmother after school, and then they'll alternate. When my grandmother would go to work and stuff, sometimes my aunt would help out. So you have a community there. So you're not necessarily needing to be under the wing of like your biological parent. You can say go with your uncle or, you know, your grandpa or whatever.
Well, Jeremiah, let me ask you: were you bullied, teased growing up, or were you the bully or the teaser?
It depends. So like physically and you know, like talking about, look, I was the roaster. I'll say that, but I wasn't like bullied per se. Like if someone was to come and like pick a fight with me, I wouldn't call that bullying. But if that's what you call bullying, sure. Like I wasn't the physical aggressor, is what I'd say.
You ever been told you're not black enough?
Probably, yeah. But see, I went to like Jewish schools and stuff, so very little people would say that.
What about outside of school? Did you not interact with people?
I mean, sure, but like most people wouldn't come up to you on the street and be like, "You're not black enough." Like, no one in my friend group like really cared. I had a very diverse friend group.
Interesting. So I want you to think of the question I'm asking. I know everybody have looked at this T.I. and this King situation from a right and wrong perspective. I'm not here to talk about that today.
Okay.
I want you to tell me, does either one of these people in this video sounds like a free thinker? All right. So as we play the video, I want to just know, is any free thinking is going on, and is anybody stepping on anybody free thinking in this video?
Context of what was going on today.
King, have you ever woke up with a roach on your face? Here. Yeah, that's not the goal. All right, then. There it goes. In your ear. In the neighborhood with me that woke up with a roach in your ear. Y'all want to go to the bando in my neighborhood? Y'all want to go to the bando? Do y'all want to go to the bando? To make him look better, he know not true. Silver spoon. I ain't never ate with that day a day in my life. Nigga, you did have a silver spoon. Look, you will have to come to my grandma's house because I'm getting in the fight. You cried like a baby to go to your grandma's house. Every day. You can hold your breath. Every day. Neighborhood. I don't want to be in these gates. I want to be outside in the neighborhood. That's why I want to be over there. But they don't understand that. I'm going to tell you the reason why you want to be over there. Y'all ready? Because he can still get pacified over there. You know, 12 years.
Did anybody, I'm gonna go to you, Jeremiah, first. Do you believe anybody in this video sounds like a free thinker?
Of course not. I think they're all followers and they're all trying to garner attention from clout, or even the parent. Like, you know, why is she recording this whole instance? It's ridiculous.
Well, King was the one recording it. He was live on his social media.
But you know, the mom talking about the pacifier in his mouth and stuff. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. But no, I don't think anyone in that video is a free thinker.
Interesting. Aaron, do you think anybody in that video is a free thinker so far?
I don't have a strong opinion of the video. I don't really know what the purpose of it was. I would say, to me personally, it seems like not very classy. You don't normally see parents all on the Insta. I don't like that type of interaction, but that's not for me to decide because they make a lot of their money through reality TV and stuff like that. So I don't even know how to properly assess it because I don't know where the entertainment stop until the point where it's real.
So you said that you don't know if it's real, so you can't really tell if it's a free thinking or not.
Yeah, because I don't know if they were in the process of having a conversation about being free thinkers or to think independently. I just think they were just talking back and forth, not something in which you could judge their ability to be free thinkers or not. Right now, capability, I'm sure it's possible, but from that small interaction, I couldn't assess whether or not there's free thinking going on there because I can't even follow the argument because one, the way he speak in the gut, I couldn't even follow what he was saying. So he's not somebody we would have. If he speaks like that, we wouldn't be able to have a conversation in depthly unless he kind of alters the way he's speaking. Because if you go back and watch, and then my grandma, I was raised my, I don't know what I'm assessing there. He's just expressing what he experienced.
So let me ask a more direct question, right? So King, truthfully and honestly, was saying that he wanted to do this, that, and third. He wanted to be raised by his grandmother. He wanted to spend more time with his grandmother. He wanted to do all these things. Do you believe his parents, we talking T.I. and Tiny, created an environment for him to be a free thinker? Let me ask that question.
That's a better question.
It's tough because you can say socioeconomically, yeah, like he should, like I heard someone mention earlier, like that kid's driving Bentleys to school, or, he has a certain type of privilege where he should be able to evade like certain things that most people would like have to, endure. He doesn't have to catch the bus. He doesn't have to wait in after school care and stuff. He has access to tutors, so he should be a free thinker. But what Aaron O stated, like, I don't think the parents themselves can like really like encourage that, like especially with what they're doing in their line of work.
To be honest with you, I don't see restrictive thinking with him. I don't see that they told him that he's not allowed to express himself and say what he wants to say. I don't see conformity in him. So I would actually argue, yeah, they allowed him to be a free thinker because I don't see a lot of restriction. I see they allowed a lot of roaming going on. He says almost whatever he want, whenever he want. I don't see a lot of restriction. I'd argue that, yeah, it would seem to me there was a high level of allowance to be a free thinker and say what he wants to say. I could be wrong, but
I'd say if anything, he was the free thinker out of all the kids. T.I. and them got 11 kids, and that's the one that's acting the fool.
So we see the one. So I would say King is very a free thinker. He's going against the cuss, right? He's not doing the way that his father wants things to happen. I think he's young, so we might look at it as toxic because free thinkers usually when they're young, it don't look good. When you saw the 14-year-old in classroom, you might say he's acting out. He's doing something that's not productive to the classroom. When we see free thinkers, and the reason I want to play that video, because I don't want to get on the side of who's right and who's wrong. When we see free thinkers that's undeveloped, we look at it as a negative thing. Do y'all agree with that or y'all disagree with that?
Not necessarily, because if you want to use King as an example, he's also not necessarily being a free thinker because he's trying to imitate or emulate something that a persona that's not even him.
Help me understand what you mean by that. You don't believe that
he a little fake thug. He's trying to be something that he sees. He's a fake thug.
So if
and that's
King,
what T.I. and Tiny was getting on him about, was trying to pretending to be something that he's not.
So hold on. So if you telling me that majority of his time he spent in the west side of Atlanta, you don't think that it's a possibility that he could have picked up hoodage ways in one of the worst hoods in Atlanta?
King did not grow up in Bowen homes. What are you talking about?
So when he stayed with his grandmother, it was in the hood. His grandma didn't stay with in T.I.ville, right? In the nice place. His grandmother was in the hood. So if he spent the majority of his time in the hood, is it any way, and I'm not saying that he is hood, he could have picked up these hood ways.
Picking up hood ways is one thing. I pick up hood ways, but I'm not no hood. I'm not no hood bitch like that, and neither is King.
So, but you think who he is fake. This is not really who he is.
Correct.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, I kind of second that because I saw a video of King doing an interview and he was like discussing like how people find him ugly and like he did it in like a self-mocking way, like he was trolling. But you can kind of tell like he does care about like the popular opinion and he is trying to like mold himself after like how his father's image is and stuff. I think a better example of a free thinker would be like someone like Jaden Smith, who is just like he's trying to start his own companies, like he's completely like outside of like he's an outlier basically.
So you believe that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett created an environment for a free thinker?
Yeah, I think for both their children, yeah.
Interesting. But
real quick, Eda, man, let me acknowledge my guy T.O. Shout out to T.O. He gifted 3 memberships. Whoa, shout out to T.O. So we got 3 new members of the GBG. We got Sugar Bum, Jack, and Princess Kami. Welcome to the
gang.
Golly, T.O., you should have told me. I could have put my hey in the chat, and when you start giving out them free memberships, so I can be in the algorithm. You gotta let me know like 5 minutes before, so I get my free membership. I've been trying to get a free membership for the longest. I gotta get off this panel.
Shout out to T.O.
So curious.
Wait, let me qualify that a little bit. Let me qualify that a bit. So, for example, Jaden Smith, he has a movement about where he's trying to get rid of like mass consumerism, like as far as like clothing brands go. So he's taking initiatives in his water company, for example, is like I think it's just called Water, but like he keeps it minimalistic. I wouldn't necessarily use him as a prime definitive example of a free thinker, but out of all the celebrity kids, I think he stands to benefit the most compared to T.I.'s son, compared to 50 Cent's son, especially. I think Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, with all the problems they had, they did create an environment for their kids to go and like venture off into their own like just influence, I want to say.
So let me ask you, let me throw a question out of left field. So if this is the case, are we saying that Will Smith and Jada was better parents than T.I. and Tiny?
I think so, yeah. Personally, I think so.
What do you think about that, Aaron?
I'm not. I don't know if I should be saying stuff like this. I would say this: Jaden Smith created the Water. He got a restaurant. He's very big on giving back. He, in all way it looks, seems like a really good kid. Whether you think he's weird or not is your decision. But he's not causing no harm to people. And I definitely think they're way more free spirits. I don't know if that means they're free thinkers. I guess you could kind of argue maybe that is the case, but I don't know if they've raised better kids. I would say that currently, if I had to give the edge to which kids have been more, I don't want to say productive to society, I would say noticeably it would be the Smith kids.
Because it's a song that Jada Smith got. Anybody heard the song "I'm an Icon Living"?
No, I never said I'm gonna listen to his music. I see he made the Water and he be helping the homeless. He got the restaurant. He do a lot of good stuff. So I don't know if I'm gonna listen to his music though. Come on now, stop it.
No, so the point that I'm saying is he wrote a song that says that he is a icon living. Like he is the cream of the crop, the best of the best, and he's going to go out and accomplish some of the greatest things ever, right? And I know some people get caught up in the beat and all that stuff, but I was just listening to what he said. So it sounds like what I'm hearing is more parents might need to be like, Will and Jada that says that we gonna stay together regardless of whatever we got going on for these kids. Like y'all saying, because I hear in the space all the time that Will should have left them, and he should have made her into a single mama.
I don't really know if, because I don't want to like correlate their parenting skills to like how their kids came out, because they could be like the worst parents ever. But as far as like the exposure that they had, and like we can acknowledge that Will Smith did put his son in like Pursuit of Happiness and films at an early age, so he instilled that work ethic within him, which we don't see from other sons, like which we don't see from other father-son relationships within the hip hop space.
So we don't say all over here. So you don't believe? I'm just want to make sure I heard this right. You don't believe how you parent your kids is a contributing factor to how you turn out?
No, because the kids are still like, they can still go their own way, you know. So I don't really believe that it's gonna like, you know, be a one-to-one like comparison.
Yeah, I don't give parents a lot of credit for nothing. I think a lot of it's luck. I think you get lucky with the children, whether they got anger issues, learning disabilities, things like that. And if you happen to get a kid that's, let's just say, more quiet, docile, not have anger issues, not aggressive and things like that, and he happened to be really good in school, I don't think it's because of you. I really don't. Now, I believe you can destroy a kid, though. However, I do believe environment matters, but I'm not giving parents.
I'm trying to figure this out because I'm not understanding why we not seeing more geniuses come out the hood. Like if what you're saying is correct, hold on.
That's an easy answer. Go ahead.
If what you guys are saying, Ray, you saying that the parent really don't play a factor in the development of this kid, why do y'all feel like parents are so important then?
Well, it doesn't be a major factor. I think what Aaron said is spot on. It's the environment that plays more of a factor than the two parents themselves or whoever has a direct influence to that kid.
Because even if you look at your question, because I've done a show on this before, we talked about geniuses, and I've highlighted some of these kids that's graduated college at 15. Their parents didn't. Their parents are not geniuses. So you not, they ain't a genius because of you. Because if you know how to create genius, you be a genius. There's nothing to do with them. What they don't do is they don't necessarily stunt their abilities, right? So they don't necessarily harm their environment so much, because I believe you can do that. I believe you can make an environment so destructive that you could destroy somebody's ability to develop. And if you were a genius at a point, have whatever environment that they kind of put you in, yes, that can hinder it severely. Absolutely.
I strongly disagree with what you're saying. I don't have to. Let me give you a good example of this, right? Lamar Ball. He didn't have to be an NBA player to create an NBA player.
That's a horrible comparison.
No, that is a great comparison.
Horrible.
Like comparison. So for example, let's say reading, for example, right? A parent being able to read with their child at a younger age, that child can outgrow that parent. Do you agree with that or disagree with that? Aaron.
Do I agree with that? A child can read better than their parent?
Do you believe I guess the question that I'm asking in so many words, right? Just because I am not something, can I be able to create the values in my children to be something that I'm not? That might be a better way of asking that question.
That's not overly specific. It's a little more railing on vague, but I'm more looking at the comparison of making an NBA player, right? I think that's a hard thing to prove, right? Because you're just talking basketball. Forget NBA, because he ain't make no NBA player. He didn't. He did make an NBA player. There's confusion there. When you compare it to a genius or that, there's a genetic component tied to it.
Cool. We go.
Okay, I'm about to get off the freeway now, because Eda Man want to drive around 285.
Every time, get him.
I will see y'all later. Eda Man, go dogs. I'll let y'all.
I want to get MRM in here, but I want to play this video first, and I want you to think about the conversation we have. Do you believe that this father had any impact on this son, or you believe it was just in this son. Okay, I want to play this video real quick. You guys can see it. Perfect. I think I need to switch it to the top. Let's play this video real quick.
I got it.
You mentioned early in the show your dad, and that you had, a 10-year period, maybe a falling out.
Right.
But prior to that, how was it for you growing up with your dad?
Well, my father was grouchy and angry, and he spanked us a lot. My two brothers with belts, and I thought it was excessive, and I intensely disliked the man. And fortunately, when I'm a little kid, 10 years old, he starts a little cafe, and I have to work for the SOB, and he still yells at me. Now I'm 15 years old, Tim, and I said to myself, next time he yells at me, and we're talking about a diner where everybody can hear everything. It's not like it's privately in the back. He yells and screams at me, and you're looking at customers watching the whole thing. I said, I'm going to walk out next time this SOB yells at me. And it took me 3 or 4 times to work up the courage to do it, but I did when I was 15 years old.
So let me ask you a question. This father being MRM, this father being hard on his child, pushing his child, do you believe that he was creating the man that he was going to be in the future?
I would say, in this case, I would say no.
Interesting. What about you,
I would
Jeremiah?
say no, because I think that at that age that Larry Elder was in, he was actually able to intellectually look through it and see that what his father was doing was not being done to him out of any type of so-called love or even discipline or correction, but he's seen that the type of emotion that was being displayed from his father towards him, it wasn't being received as love, so to speak. Because sometimes people can't come off and do things in such a way, like as he explained right now. I've actually personally talked with him about this, to where that's not what was being displayed, because he talked about more in detail about spankings he's had in the past as a kid from his father, and he said his father would spank him, do these things, but then it also came with correction. There was other times where his father was, he don't know why, but he do know that it wasn't out of love, and therefore he had to get away from it.
Hold that thought real quick. I'm gonna play this video a little bit farther.
Years old. My dad came home. He paid me $10 a day plus tips. He bolted the $10 as I lay on the bed. He threw it at me and he said, "Why did you leave?" For the first time, I spoke back to my dad and I said, "Dad, I got sick and tired of the way you spoke to me. I'm not putting up with it anymore." He walked out of my bedroom, Tim, and for the next 10 years, we didn't speak to each other at all.
Wow.
At all. Wow. I go to college. I go to law school. I come home to visit my mom, of course. College was in New England. Law school's in the Midwest. I come back to LA to visit my mom, but I'd make sure my dad wasn't around when I was in the room.
You were 15?
I was 15 when this happened.
So he went through all these schools, right? Do you believe that him pushing himself this hard had anything to do with his hatred from his father?
It probably did have something to do with his hatred for his father, but I think what his father was trying to do was just instill a work ethic within him. Of course, he went about it in a terrible, lousy way, but it still made him probably who the man he is today, like in his mindset and how he views like work and like just not wanting to tolerate, BS from other people. I think it had a positive effect.
What you said is that a parent can influence the person that you're going to become. That's what you're saying.
Of course, yeah, to an extent, they can influence it, but they can't define it.
Yeah, it can go both ways, because the thing is like you learn this. I mean, it's a lot of people that I've had in my life, or I'm pretty sure some of you guys have too, that there's individuals that I looked up to as being role models, be it men, be it women. And there's a lot of things that I was like, okay, this part of him, I'm drawing that from him, or this part of her, I'm drawing that from her. But what I don't like about him is that he don't even try to listen. He just always thinks he's right. So I'm not going to take that part right there. So in this case, like here with Larry Elder, I think that when you say, can he influence him to do the things that he did? Yes. As far as like possibly saying, like if you used to ask him, what do you think you might have taken from your father that actually helped you push yourself through school? And he was like, no matter whether I feel like it or not, I'm going to do it. And it ain't about how I'm feeling. My father kind of instilled that in me. But yet at the same time, you will see with him that he would probably say the way that my father was in his delivery, I'm definitely not going to be using that as how I'm going to.
So let me ask you, at 15, do you think he knew what he needed, or do you think his father knew what he needed at 15? Who you think was more educated to becoming a man?
Well, to be honest with you, because like I said, I personally know him and talk with him. He got the realizing that his father wasn't fathered very well either.
Hold on, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But so the point that I'm asking is, At 15, do you think he knew what was best for him at 15, or do you believe his father knew what's best for him?
It
And it's good
depends
that you know.
on what his father's story is. We don't know if his father's a man or not, as far as what we would classify as a man.
Oh, all right, let's play a little bit farther.
But then I graduated from high school. My dad worked long hours, so the next 2 years I just made sure we weren't in the same room.
Wow.
Then I go to New England for college, Midwest for law school, end up working in Cleveland, and I would visit my mom all these years, of course. But I would just make sure my dad and I were not in the same room. We said nothing to each other for 10 years. Now, just real quickly. Now I'm 25 years old. I passed the California bar, the Ohio bar. I should be living large. I'm 25 years old, making the equivalent of 150K, and I can't sleep. And I know it has to do with my dad.
So do you believe that his father fostered an environment for his son to be successful?
Not intentionally. I don't think it's intentionally.
So you don't think his father was intentional with what he was doing?
No, I don't think he intentionally was fostering an environment for him to be successful. He might have been trying to discipline him and things like that, but that doesn't necessarily correlate to success.
Interesting. Let's play a little bit more.
So I told my secretary, call my client, tell them I'm going to be away for 3 days. I'm flying to LA. I'll be back. And so I didn't tell my parents I was coming because I didn't want my dad to prepare. So I get to LAX, took a cab to the cafe. Cafe closed at 2:30. I got there at 1:30. And my dad was shocked to see me. I had 2 big bags with me. And he said, "Shall I put your bags in the back?" I said, "No, Dad, I'm going to be here for 5 or 10 minutes. I want to tell you something." So he said, "Wait till we close." So I sat there for an hour and I said, "All right, don't tee off on the SOB. Just give him the highlights, 5-10 minute conversation. He'll call you an ungrateful son. You'll call him a cruel father, and maybe you'll be able to sleep when you get back to Cleveland." So my dad sat down.
So I want MRM to answer this question before we play this last part. So do you believe him not being able to sleep, that he felt that he had something in fault, like he was in fault for something?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
That who was at fault? That Larry Elder was at fault, or his father?
I think he felt that he contributed to them not speaking. Like it, I think he do feel like he had something to do with that. Like he had a burden on what was going on between the two of them. It wasn't just his father.
Well, because I know what's going to happen, but it could also be a thought process where he felt like he couldn't sleep because he felt like he needed to get it off his chest, what he really felt, what happened to him, and wanted to let his father know about it.
So let me ask you this question, panel, before I play this video any farther. Do you believe that he's a free thinker?
I would personally say yeah, just because he knew what he wanted, and he didn't just follow in the lead of his dad just because his dad said this is the way. He challenged it a bit. So I'd say he's a definition of a free thinker, or an example of one.
Interesting. Let's play the video a little bit longer.
Down, and I teed off for him for a half hour. You know how I can go. We just now met, but you know how I go, Jamie.
Everybody, he can go.
So I spoke for a half hour nonstop. Every spanking, every whipping. The time when my cousin Elaine came to Cleveland from Cleveland to visit me, and he whipped me in front of her, how humiliating that was. I told him everything, and my dad just took it. Every now and then he'd lean over and pour coffee and replenish his coffee, but he just took it. And when I was done, I was spent. I couldn't think of anything else. And my dad looked up and said, "Is that it? You didn't speak to me for 10 years because of that?" Now, I should tell you, I knew nothing about my father's life other than I knew he was an only child because we never got any Christmas presents. And I met his mom one time. Outside of that, I knew nothing about his life. I didn't care. I didn't like him. He said, "Let me tell you about my father. You know your last name, Elder?" I said, "Yes." He said, "That's not my father's last name." I said, "What? What's your father's last name?" He said, "I have no idea. I never met him." "You never met your father? Who's Elder?" Elder was some guy who was in my life the longest, 4 years. My mother could neither read nor write. She had a series of boyfriends, each one more irresponsible than the one before. Elder was an alcoholic, was physically abusive to me. And when I tried to stop him from beating my mother, he would beat me. And I came home at 13 years old, he said, and I started fighting with my mom's then boyfriend. By that time, Elder was long gone. And my mother sided with the boyfriend and threw me out of the house, 13 years old, never to return. Athens.
So do he know what it takes at 13 years old to be a man? His father.
For the sake of the conversation, I could see the argument that he would know.
What
I
about
don't know
you?
what kind of man he was, but I could make the argument he survived. He probably did what he had to do. I could see that.
So MRM, do he kind of understood the trials and tribulations of what a man should be at 13, between 13 and 15? Because this is when they was around that same age.
I would say I'm kind of half and half on it. I would say somewhat.
Somewhat.
Like, you know, he can only pull from what he saw. So that little bit that he was, if he drew from that and used that as a little bit of what actually got him to be like he is towards Larry, then somewhat, but not fully.
Let's play a little bit more.
Georgia, Jim Crow South at the beginning of the Great Depression. I said, well, Dad, what did you do? And for the next 8 hours, the man told me about his life. 2 stools as close as you and I are. And for the first time, I saw my father cry when he talked about the way Elder treated him. For 8 hours, my dad walked me through his life. I said, well, what did you do when you left the house? I went down the road. I picked up trash. I did this. I became a Pullman porter. They were the largest private employers of blacks in those days. My dad came out to California on a run, and he was able to walk through the front door of a restaurant and get served. And he was shocked. And he said, maybe I'll make a mental note to relocate to California. Pearl Harbor, my dad joins the Marines. I said, Dad, why the Marines? Anybody who's listening to us who's in the Marines knows what I'm going to say. 2 reasons. Number 1, they go where the action is. Number 2, I love the uniforms. My dad was stationed on Guam, where he became a staff sergeant in charge of cooking for the colored soldiers. Gets out, comes back to Chattanooga, where you're appearing.
Thank you.
And must I work that in?
Yeah,
where he met and married my mom to get him a job as a short order cook. That's what he did in the military. And they said, I'm sorry, we don't hire niggers. He went to restaurant after restaurant. I'm sorry, we don't hire niggers. Goes to an unemployment office, goes through the door. Lady says, you went through the wrong door. I said, colored only. My dad goes to that door to the very same lady who sent him out. My dad told my mom, this is BS. I'm going to LA, where I was before the war. I'm going to get a job as a cook. I'll send for you. Come.
So let me ask you this question before you go a little bit farther. Do you believe his dad know how to build work ethic and what it should look like?
Does he have any siblings that was raised by him?
Yes.
Because that matters.
Yes.
I would need to see some evidence that he's duplicated this process and this wasn't just the special child that went on to be great, because that would have some involvement of it. But no, it's fair to say, yeah, that man has a level of deep belief in himself and to get the job done. I could see all that.
All right, let's finish up the video.
Comes out to LA, walks around for a day and a half, and he said, sorry, you don't have any references. My dad said, I need references to make ham and eggs. And but they treated him the same way as they did in Chattanooga, a little more polite.
Yeah.
Goes to unemployment office, just one door this time. Lady didn't have anything. My dad said, what time do you close? She said, 9. What time do you open? She said, 9. What time do you close? 5. My dad said, I'll be sitting in that chair until you find me something. Sat there for a whole day, nothing. Came back the next day. She calls him up. I've got something. I don't know whether or not you're going to want it. My dad said, of course I'm going to want it. I'm starting a family. What is it? She says, a job cleaning toilets and Nabisco brand bread. My dad did that for 10 years, took a second full-time job cleaning toilets at another bread company. He had a hookup. Cooked for a family on the weekend to make additional money, went to night school 3 nights a week to get his GED so he could have a stay-at-home wife. The man never slept, which is why he was so grouchy. And my dad then said, you know, and the other time I was married, you were married before mom?
Oh.
I thought he was going to say 6 months, 3 months. 7 years. Wow. What happened? She cheated on me. She couldn't have any kids. And then the other time I was married, you were married twice before mom? I was 18 years old. I married a girl 18. Her parents found out I was an 8th grade dropout, marched her down to the courthouse, annulled the marriage. So you were married 3 times? Why would you get married after that happened to you? He looked at me like I had 8 heads. He said, because Larry, I wanted you. So 8 hours, my dad gets bigger and bigger and bigger, Tim. Elder gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Now I'm crying. And I said, Dad, please forgive me for judging you so harshly. My dad said, don't worry about it. Just follow the advice I've always given you and your brothers. I could cite it in my sleep. Hard work wins. You get out of life what you put into it. Larry, you cannot control the outcome, but you are 100% in control of the effort. And before you groan about what somebody did to you or said to you, go to the nearest mirror, look at it, and ask yourself, what could I have done to change the outcome? And finally, he said, no matter how good you are, how hard you work, bad things are going to happen to you. How you address those bad things will tell your mother and me if we raised a man. From that point on, next 35 years, my dad and I were the best of friends.
Wow.
I wrote.
Interesting. So the question
before you go on, T.O. sent a super chat. Shout out to T.O. He says it's like a seesaw between parents versus the outside environment. No, T.O. I believe that the kid is either a genius or he not, and that outside environment gonna be more destructive, if anything. Forget those parents. Don't let y'all. These parents ain't doing nothing. We ain't giving them no credit. No, get 0. Okay, 2%.
So Gabe, so because earlier, and Aaron's still standing on this, that this guy was going to be who he was regardless. His father really didn't contribute to it. He was just, his father didn't know what he was talking about. He did it on accident. That's just some of the things that Aaron have said. So I want to know what you think about it on the video.
I caught some of it, but I think his father was a contributor. I don't think it's very hard to predict the outcome of a person's life based upon one type of influence. I'm thinking that there were probably multiple things that contributed to him becoming who he is, but I do think his father is one piece, based upon
I don't care
the relationship and how he came up and everything. Yeah,
I don't care what either man say. His father got other kids. I need to see the comparison. I need to see
with kids,
because
like you never know the outcome. Like you never know.
I agree. I think parenting has some level of importance, but when I talk about geniuses, it's very different from the kids that are not geniuses, right? I mean, all right. The parenting is way more important for kids that are not geniuses. But when you start talking about geniuses, right? There's a genetic component that I don't care what they no.
See, we ain't gonna let Aaron do this. We ain't talking about genius. That was his lie. We talking about free thinkers. We ain't talking about no.
No, but I was talking about geniuses. Then you
I know, but that is tonight ain't your night. You talk about that Monday, like I was wrong. Or Wednesday. Let's talk about free thinkers. One thing that I'm learning more and more about free thinkers, they typically grow up in a harsh environment.
So you trying to talk now? You trying to?
You think so?
He trying to relate to me and say that's why you that. He think he's slick. I ain't falling for it. I'm going off camera.
Well,
what examples have you given about free thinkers? And again, like I'm just coming in, but who is like yours?
I would like to know what definition you're using tonight, because that's something that has been like said to me numerous of times since I was a teenager. What's your? I mean, because different people got different versions of it. So what exactly is the free thinking definition tonight?
Right.
So free thinking, I didn't want to give the definition because I didn't want to argue about it. And some people want to argue about it. We can't move the conversation forward. That's why I didn't bring it up, right? But when I say free thinker, the ability to think outside of the box and to be able to think for yourself. You typically reject the traditional ways of doing it and being able to create new ways to be able to accomplish those things. So I know that's not the definition that, they're like, well, we ain't doing that. But that's just my opinion. We can say that it's right or wrong, but that's what I'm saying. And the reason I say this is because I think back on my childhood, and it was a very harsh environment. I'm just gonna say that. And the reason that I think so different is because I was built for this. And I think the reason so many people don't think the way that I think is they're not built to be free thinkers in the future.
Why do you think that you're a free thinker? Like what's the qualifications that, like, why are you a free thinker and other people aren't?
Well, I think most people, I think it's proven on YouTube that I think different from everybody else.
Oh, because you disagree with everybody? You could be considered like a contrarian. What's the difference between a contrarian and a free thinker?
I don't know. You're using big words. What is a contrarian?
Somebody who's just disagreeable, right? Somebody who's just disagrees to disagrees, not necessarily.
I'm highly disagreeable. He's talking about me, basically.
So you believe, Gabe, just based off what you're saying, I'm disagreeing just to disagree?
No. I'm saying, like, what do you think is the difference between the free thinker and a contrarian, or somebody who wants to disagree versus somebody who's thinking outside the box?
Well, I think the contrarian never agrees.
Right.
But that's the definition that you gave. You said you're a free thinker because you don't agree with what most people think on YouTube. So how you know you're not a contrarian? Like, how you know you just not disagreeing to disagree?
That's not exactly what he said, though.
Yeah.
He ain't slick. I listened.
He didn't really say
I'll let
that.
it slide and let
What he
you
say?
guys argue.
He said he's
say
a
that.
free thinker because he does not agree with people's opinions or their positions on YouTube.
What
Right?
that tells me, Gabe, is you wasn't paying attention when I was talking.
Say it again. Say it again. Hey,
hold down. You wasn't
listen. If I
listening.
missed what you said, say it again. Just clarify for me.
So a free thinker is a factor of many things, right? But
That ain't what you said earlier. I'm saying say what you said earlier. What you say earlier.
The ability to think outside the box typically don't go the traditional way. This is what I said earlier, if you want me to repeat it.
No, about you, because you said you're a free thinker.
But I gave you the definition of free thinking, and I said that I believe it is proven that I am a free thinker. Now, you could disagree with it, but I believe that the ways that I speak, the things that I say, is typically different from inside the box thinking that we see here on YouTube. Do you disagree with that, Gabe?
Gabe don't watch you. Oh, my bad, Gabe. I'm sorry.
I don't watch very often, but like when I watch you, I don't know. I wouldn't.
He don't think you that smart. Say it, Gabe. Get him.
No, I'm not
Get
saying
him.
all that. Chill. Chill. I got to turn up. I ain't trying to turn up yet. Let's work into it. Let's work into the turn up. But
let the record reflect
I agree with the definition.
that either man said that conservatives are not free thinkers.
Ooh, so conservatives are not.
Huh?
Help me elaborate what you mean about that.
What did you just say? Free thinkers were non-traditional, thinking of new ways to accomplish things.
Okay, so you believe that Larry is not a free thinker?
No, you believe that based on what you just gave as what a free thinker is.
But what I'm asking is help me understand. So, for example, I believe that a man and woman should be together, right? And we could say that that is traditional, right? That doesn't mean that I can't be a free thinker. Do you agree with that or you disagree with that?
But she could make an argument that you just said you don't. I'm gonna sit out.
Well, come on now. We done said this plenty of time. When we talk about stuff, we're not talking about all. I'm not saying that I don't agree with none of the traditional ways. Like, come on now. We do say that majority. How about that?
You gave a pretty solid thing about non-traditional. That's an ideology.
MRM.
Yeah, that's what you just said.
MRM. You see why I didn't define it? You see why I didn't define free thinking? Because it typically, when you give a definition, it almost gets to a point where it derails the conversation. Like, because now we want to argue about what I believe, right? And that's not.
I disagree because I think a definition allows us to all have a baseline to have a discussion about. Because right now we could be talking about free thinking and we all have different definitions of it. So we're all.
So let me give you an example of the free thinking, right? I agree with Gabe because I like baselines, right? But I can agree with either man as well because I can understand how that can stifle the conversation, right? Because instead of focusing on the conversation, we focusing on proving you wrong or your thought about something. So I believe because I'm not a free thinker, I'm going to do what Jeremiah tell me to do. I'm going on mute.
So, Jeremiah, so we've been talking about this a little bit in detail. So what do you think? Do you believe that typically free thinkers grow up in a chaotic environment?
I would say yeah, because if you had a comfortable environment, you're less likely to challenge it. You're more likely to just be susceptible to whatever people like are dictating that you do. But yeah, I'd say more than likely free thinkers do grow up out of let's say adversity, such as Albert Einstein. Like he was a terrible student, people hated him like as a pupil. I'm pretty sure his teachers and stuff, but he still had a knowledge. He still had a thirst for knowledge, and he went, autodidactically, like on his own way. So
I will almost argue this, Gay. The people who run the world was bullied back in high school. I know that might sound crazy. Like the people who truly runs the world grew up in a harsh environment. Gabe, help me understand. Like, am I off? Because I might be off.
No, I can see what you mean. I think that could be an
I
aspect
don't know how
of
you
their
can make
lives.
that assessment.
The world, though?
I don't know how you can make that assessment.
I
bro.
mean,
Like,
when I think about something like running the world, I'm thinking about like in the sense
Power.
of kingdoms. That stuff gets passed down. Your family runs the world, and this is what you
y'all
gonna
don't
do.
just let Eat a Man blurt anything out because it's Eat a Man Thursdays. Y'all just gonna let him get away with this.
I'm trying to take what he's saying. I'm trying to
Eat a Man. Look, this is what happened.
understand.
Gabe. He was reading. He was like, smart. I believe the world is ran by people that was in a bad environment. Like, he's gonna blurt anything out like that. You're gonna have to give us something more concrete than that. Because we're not free thinkers. We sheep. So give us something to follow, and we just go,
Interesting. So, Gabe,
Uh-oh.
what was you saying before my co-host rudely interrupted you? Because you was going somewhere that was pretty good.
I was just saying. I think that I agree with Jeremiah to a degree. I think that free thinkers are in places where they're challenged. I don't think it necessarily has to be like an adversarial environment, right? Or somebody that's like just such a harsh environment where they have to like struggle to the top. I think as long as they're in an environment where they can challenge ideas or challenge the norms of that environment, then I think that would harness that free thinking, I don't know, gene that you all were talking about there.
Yes, sort of like what Aaron was referring to, because one of the things that I used to get in trouble for is I used to always get told, which I do, is that I talk too much. And when they meant by that I talk too much is that I ask too many questions. And sometimes the adults that I was asking this question to, they didn't feel that they didn't take it as if I was asking them this question because I really wanted to know. I couldn't articulate that as a kid, but they felt I was doing it because I was being smart. That's what the way they use it. You always asking questions up here, being smart. Stay out of grown folks' business. I always got that. And I was literally asking the question because I wanted to know. But they were taking it like I was challenging them. And then I get down as you get older, you find out they didn't know the answer and they felt intimidated by you asking them that because they didn't have the answer. Therefore, their response to you was just, boy, shut up. You a kid. You don't need to be thinking about nothing like that. You don't need to be worried about nothing like that.
I had very similar experiences too, like especially in school. Like if you ask too many questions, the teacher will stop calling on you, right? They'll be like, put your hand down, or they'll look over you, or just ignore you because they don't want to do their job, right? So I think that kind of goes to some of what you all were saying earlier, like about the school systems and government systems and society. They create drones type of people rather than free thinkers, because they're like, don't ask me questions, don't challenge anything here. So I agree with that point.
Interesting. So the reason I'm asking this question is because I believe that we have created an environment that is so soft that we're seeing less and less free thinkers. And we have disguised it under this AKA woke culture, when a lot of these woke culture are sheep people following the narrative.
What you just did, you think you slick. You want us to think you're a free thinker by going, interesting. You did that like 6 times this show. We're not going to think you're a free thinker just because you go, interesting, all right? T.O. says, wouldn't the alphabet community be the free thinkers based on your definition, E-Man?
No. Okay.
Elaborate. Why not?
Well, I think a lot of them are followers of the people of that community. Maybe if we went back to the 70s or the 80s, maybe we would have called those people free thinkers. But I think a lot of people are being influenced to be that way without going into detail.
Interesting.
What's he got? I think he's trolling.
I'm trying it out. It might work. I think I'm gonna be a free thinker by the end of this show. I'm trying it, man. Let me try.
So, and what I really wanted to show you guys is when you are a free thinker, you typically have the ability to influence people to do the things that you do. As we can see, if you take a new approach, you can get some sheep like Aaron to follow it to see if it works.
I disagree with that because I think some of the dumbest people have some of the strongest influences in the world today or over the history of man. I mean, I think a free thinker, I know y'all was giving definitions like someone like Nikola Tesla, right? He had ideas that were completely before their time, completely outside of the norm of what society was at that time, right? But he wasn't followed heavily. He wasn't followed. Like people abused him. People took his ideas. People, they still even take his ideas even to this day. But I wouldn't say that he had mass influence. Individuals like Westinghouse, they had influence. Individuals like Thomas Edison, they have influence. They had influence at that time, but
well, look how smart this comment is. Most people are dumb as a bag of rocks, like drones.
Okay,
that's got to be genius level stuff.
I mean, you're not wrong, but sure.
I will say in today's world, I'll say this, and what y'all talking about right now, I guess since there's no set definition on it, but the children that I mentor, and the young men and women that I mentor, I literally push them to do that. So for example, some of the younger kids, let's just say from the ages 10 and under, the ones that I deal with, the parents, then when they sign up for us to get on this program, they have a contract that they sign, right? The kids don't have to have no cell phones whatsoever. And they barely, and if they're watching TV, it's going to be in the family room. They don't have a TV in their room. They don't have a computer in their room. And the reason why is because it's proven that constantly being like this and doing like this, they absolutely 100% lose like all creativity. If you leave a child alone to be bored, watch how creative they become. Watch how talented they become. Watch what new skills and stuff that you might not even know that was in them. Like Aaron mentioned the genius thing. Watch how it comes out. But so long as they are always entertained by something that's masking that, when you will never be able to see that come out of them.
So what you're saying is create more harsh environments for the kids.
Harsh environments?
You don't think it's harsh? You don't think it's harsh to leave a kid in a room with nothing else to do with his imagination? You don't think the world will call that harsh today?
No. I don't.
Today's standard.
I don't think it's harsh, but like you mentioned, the world would probably call it harsh.
So I want to show you guys what a free thinker looks like, right? When Black people decide that they want to be free thinkers, it's interesting who they end up getting compared to, right? Someone who said they want to go against the norm. They say they want to do something totally different. Let's see really quickly what they look like. 1 second.
Meet a Black person who completely challenges every racial stereotype that they've ever had. Rather than giving up the stereotype, they create a special category for that person and say, well, you're not like other Black people. Or instead of saying, my ideas of Black people were too narrow or too...
Let me play it again. Hold on. Oh.
She's not a free thinker like that.
Yeah.
She just doesn't fit into a stereotype.
Exactly.
Let's just be real.
Yeah. I agree with that.
A free thinking person is not always a positive thing. It can also be a negative thing as well. Just like the people who were going against the church in the old world about the earth they thought the earth rotated around the sun instead of the sun rotating around the earth. Those were pretty cool free thinkers, right? Went against the grain. But then you have flat earthers.
Yeah.
Those are free thinkers as well.
I played this same video not too long ago, actually. This is very interesting.
No, so
I'm out.
So the point that I'm making, right? I don't think being a free thinker is a negative thing whatsoever. I think we agree with some of the things that free thinkers do, and we disagree with what some free thinkers do. I'm not just saying just because you're a free thinker that means you're right, but I think free thinking is healthy and it should be around.
So you gave her as an example of a free thinker. What makes her a free thinker? Because she doesn't she doesn't fit into a socially racial norm. Does that make her a free thinker?
Yeah, I wasn't. Was what you were trying to convey with that video?
So what I was conveying is do you think that she think different from what is normally supposed to be quote unquote how black women think?
You're talking about not the girl that played that video, because the woman that actually said those actual words is a completely different woman.
I know. I'm tracking that.
So
we're not talking. So I'm glad you made that distinction. We're not talking about what she said, but when we see this woman doing different things from what is normal to her, that's the point that I was.
That's what I was trying to identify.
That's
was
not
it the language or the that makes a difference.
It's not the language. It's actually the woman.
I got you. I just had to be sure which what we were breaking down. Go ahead, Gabe.
Okay, but what the woman is doing isn't necessarily aligned with like free thinking. It just doesn't fit into the. She not a Keisha, or she doesn't do the Keisha things, the hood ratchet things, right?
Wouldn't that make her
look at social classes? When we look at social classes, people who are in like higher social classes in the United States, they typically do run. They might engage in a hike here or there. They might do like it's. I think it's more of a social class differentiator here rather than somebody who's like a free thinker.
You see, and to his point right there, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna go into detail, but a lot of y'all that saw me around these panels, y'all know my story and how I grew up. My sons didn't see nothing remotely close to that. So what she was doing in this video right here, to my sons, they would be like, "How? That's normal though, Dad, right?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My sons will look at that like, I mean, I know a lot of how they grew up. We know a lot of black girls that do exactly what she's doing. So why is she saying, how's that free thinking? But now where I come from, I would look at that and say, yeah, no black folks is doing what she's doing where I grew up at, you know.
But then look at Jeremiah. I bet Jeremiah, like, did you think that was like weird? When she was like, wow, a black woman running. Like, did you think that was weird or what?
Yeah, like I don't think that's a good example of a free thinker. She was probably trying to challenge something, like how you said, a contrarian, but like just to go against something. But she didn't really like promote anything like a thought or anything like, you know, new. She didn't promote, you know, like anything necessary.
Yeah.
Well, I think this indication is that people will be given new information that totally shatters everything that they believe. And instead of just readjusting and going, you know what? I was wrong. What they'll do in order to stay right is say, you're an exception. You're unique. You know, and I think she was more highlighting that. But you're right. She didn't necessarily give an example, but there are a lot of things that can be interpreted based
So it sounds like relativity though, right? Because relative to your perspective. So if you coming from the hood, like, right, you grew up in the projects or something, if you see her, you're like, what? Whoa. Like you probably taken it back. You might be like, wow, she's really defying the norm. This is a person thinking outside the box. Right.
It's rules. Like when you're from the hood, you got to go outside. Like I know that people was in the hood, but they stayed in the house and their parents never let them come outside. They was always supervised and they went straight to the house. And you got to be outside to really be from the hood.
Right.
Gotta be outside.
So maybe to some people they would consider her as a free thinker.
So
either man grew up in the middle of the hood, because either man from O Block, he sees her as a free thinker, right?
Yeah. Well, this is what. Well, let's go to Aaron. Let's go to Aaron City.
Yeah,
right?
even listening.
I want to go to San Francisco. I want to go over there to see how the free thinkers in San Francisco look and how they say, because let's just go to San Francisco real quick. Let's see what the free thinkers over there doing.
I'm so confused. Why is this considered free thinking?
Let's read the text. Gabe, can you read the text for me, brother? Thank you very much.
It says a group of juveniles stole $12,000 worth of Nike products in Los Angeles.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Where does it say San Francisco?
Yeah, San Francisco. Be a free thinker, sir. Don't get confused. Don't get confused by letters. Don't do that.
I'm just reading. I'm a conformist. I conform to the words on the video.
Oh, you know what they say, LA, San Francisco, it's all the same.
It's all the same. Huh? It's
all
the same.
All them California people saying, read the super chat.
Shout out to T.O. He says, so anybody could be a free thinker. Just move. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm in Los Angeles, San Francisco. They all just one place now, so I'm still there. You know what I'm saying?
We've been seeing a lot of examples. I don't think we really getting down to it. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think we're really getting down to what it is.
You're not free to think your mind. Your mind is locked in the chain. You see, Gabe. See. I see what your problem is. See where you come from, because I came up. I was in a harsh environment, and I'm a free thinker. But you was all prepped up, buttoned up, church board, well protected. And so you're so used to the structure that you can't even get out of your mind to realize this whole time we doing free thinking. I made you a free thinker. I'm the free thinker, thinking free person.
Actually, maybe that is what's going on. Maybe that is what's going on right now. Let me think about it freely.
Could be happening.
Look, the free thinker's muted. What are you saying, Nita, man?
I think what it really comes down to is that I don't think a lot of people actually have the space to think about what a free thinker is. I think people are so in the mindset of just following the norm. I think when we talk about, I think MRM was on point when he was talking about, following social media, always having a phone in front of your face. It actually makes you kind of comply, be sheep, follow along with what's going on with society, versus you actually have to use your mind to be able to create unique thoughts. And I know we don't talk about these things in this space, but I was thinking in my mind, it's like, I hope that people ask themselves, do I really free think, or do I have the sheep mentality?
Well, I'd like to say that in opposition to what MRM said, if I gave my child a phone and instead of going on Instagram, they're reading novels and like expanding the vocabulary, learning a new language, they can be considered a free thinker. So I don't think the device itself determines if they're a free thinker. It has a propensity to make them more of a sheep, or they can go against the grain and do something else.
You think reading makes you a free thinker?
Oh, of course, yes. It challenges thought. It makes you, you know what they say about learning yourself, you write. So if you're gonna read,
I didn't get nothing out of reading Charlotte's Web.
No, Jeremiah, you got to freely think about this. You telling me if I read a book, it challenges my mind?
Yeah, maybe I'm not a free thinker enough, but maybe I think so.
All right, let me give you an example. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If they put an A on page 1 in a picture that says "ah," and then on the second page, and I'm 50 years old and I read this, you think that's challenging me?
If you learn a different alphabet, you know how to compare the two. Yeah, you can.
So there's a couple things that have to be added. People reading a book does not make them a free thinker. A child going on a phone reading something does not make them a free thinker.
But let me ask you, Aaron, what if I look at this same page and I say, ZYXWV, UTXRQP, ONMKJIH, GFEDCBA. Did I free think?
I think you dumb. Yeah.
No, I'd say that's to Gabe's point. That's contrarian thinking. You just went the opposite.
Right.
Oh, you don't think that was free thinking?
It could be a precursor to it, but that didn't.
Wait, Gabe, you can't even get him to define free thinking. I'll be back.
I'm lost. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of lost, but it's cool. I'm
why do you
think back up in the
conversation? Why do you think you lost, Gabe?
I think I'm lost because we just talk about a lot of different things that aren't necessary. Like we're doing a lot of side missions. Like y'all playing the video game. It's like a side mission here, side mission there. Talk about ABCs, Charlotte's Web, catching strays. But it's cool. Like I'm here for the ride. I'm buckled in.
Cool. Hey, so I'm curious now. MRM, are you lost with the conversation tonight?
No.
Jeremiah, you lost? Like,
No, not yet, but it is getting a little derailed. I do agree with that.
okay, cool. We do that
Okay,
a little bit.
wait. So me being lost, it's some way we need to compare everybody's lostness, or
no,
like what? Like why we doing that? Like, why,
bro.
You're the only one. I'm lost. I didn't say everybody's lost. I said I'm lost.
Well, what I'm saying is you might be lost is because of your limited thinking. It ain't got nothing to do with what I'm saying. You might just can't comprehend.
We are literally doing exactly what I said. We're doing another side. We're veering off somewhere different. But it's
how is that different when we're talking about free thinking?
Because why are you evaluating? All right.
No, the question I'm saying is that I think I'm making sense. I know you might be like, I'm lost. I don't know how he's painting this picture or putting these things together. I'm cool with that. But to some people, I'm making sense. And if Aaron was being truthful, I don't think Aaron's lost, but Aaron might just want to make you feel good.
I ain't that smart. Osby not that smart.
I would say
that.
Yeah, no, I did
that.
I don't even know what we talking about. I just got back. I'm drinking my water.
But to what you mentioned earlier, though, too, E-Man, when you mentioned about everything that's going, you mentioned a lot of things that's going on right now, and you started talking about how, you mentioned the word woke. And I would say that is one of the things that I can see as being a way that a lot of people who don't seem to go that particular direction, how a lot of people that are considered to be woke, those people are considered to be free thinkers. Now, it's a thing by this guy. I mean, I love it. I listen to it almost every morning. There's a great composer named Hans Zimmer, and he writes a lot of big movie scores. And I listen to this thing that he has composed called Time. But I listened to it along with a message from this old show. I think it was called A Great Dictator, something like that, Charlie Chaplin. One of the things he said in there is he said, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, that regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel. And what I'm saying that for is because there's a lot of people that don't even know that they're actually caught up in that they're literally doing that very thing. They're rinsing, repeating what they heard without actually knowing if it's factual. So even though a lot of us know math, what I like to do with a lot of little kids, or the ones that do know math, I'll go, what's 2 plus 2? 4. What's 4 plus 4? 8. 8 plus 8. See, they're naming off, but I'll say, what's 275 plus 322? Well, wait, come on. Fire it off like you were doing other numbers. Fire it off. See, what I'm saying therefore is that just because you know how to repeat something back to me because you learned and you've done it so repetitively, but do you actually really know how to do math? In other words, do you really know how to think it through? Or are you just spewing it out because you've been taught how to spew it out?
I agree. So let's go to a conversation
on my calculator, MRN. What was the number again? 3,223. The time.
The fact that you even need a calculator, you're not free thinking. Do it on paper. Write it out. I literally said they don't know how to do math. You brought out a calculator that's going to do the math for you.
Yeah, but I know how to use the calculator.
See?
I'm a calculator thinker.
You're probably using the calculator to do math.
You a button pusher.
Yeah, I push the buttons all right, sir. Yes, it says.
Are you serious or are you like just joking about using the calculator?
I told you, Gabe, it's hard for him to follow along. But let me give Gabe something to follow along with.
It's hard for me to follow along? Listen. It's hard for me to follow along.
Yeah.
You've been giving all these examples of free thinkers, and none of this has been free thinker.
Fight back! Fight back! Fight back!
I didn't know it was a fight, but okay.
But I do got you, Gabe. I want to go something that's more down your lane for you to follow, right? All right, so I do want people to think about free thinking, going into details and different things like that. So as we start transition, I want to talk a little bit about business, investing, different things like that. And my question that I'm going to ask you, Gabe, is First of all, do you think employees are free thinkers?
Some are, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. That's interesting. So yeah, so I want to ask you guys, are you familiar with what's going on in Microsoft and underneath the LinkedIn umbrella of what's going on with their employees?
I know how to read the super chat that T.O. said. If an Amish moves to Iran, he a free thinker. He's freeze now. Okay, T.O. says he got lost from freely thinking. No, you see, T.O., he was found.
Well,
he got
actually,
lost.
if he's talking about the Amish, they literally are challenged to do that. They give them a certain time in their life, around 18 years old, to go out there and freely think to see if that really is the path they want to take. If not, they return back to being Amish.
I say whoop them. Because that solve every problem anyway. T.O. says, would conservatives be the new free thinkers?
Only if you black.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I want to get into this because I think a lot of people believe that they have job security. They don't look in the mirror and told themselves that they're the best employee for the company. And I just want to understand, like, the reason I'm talking about Microsoft, because I think we all agree that Microsoft is one of the biggest companies in the world. Are we tracking what Microsoft is doing under the LinkedIn umbrella right now? Anybody tracking, or is it just me? Nope. All right, cool. Let me play a video. I want to catch people up to think. And I mean, not up to think, up to date. Oh, kind of what's going on with Microsoft and the different things that's going on real quick. This guy, he's not 100% right, but he's pretty close. So I want to play the video real quick so you guys can see what we're talking about.
So Microsoft-owned LinkedIn is laying off nearly 700 employees. This news was announced Monday that Microsoft was going to cut 700 employees, with most of them coming from the engineering organization, according to a memo that was viewed by CNBC. Cuts also came in the company's finance and human resources groups. There's been year-over-year growth slowdowns, and it has definitely caused the social media networking platform hits, because Microsoft announced in January that it was cutting over 10,000 employees and additional ones following in July. So the slimming down comes basically as Microsoft's overall revenue.
So let's just round up. We talking Microsoft have cut, roughly 11,000 employees, right? What do y'all guys think about that?
That sounds like cost-saving procedures.
Yeah, I agree.
I shouldn't say procedures, but
there were like mass. There were like mass hirings in tech across the board during the pandemic, and a lot of this is just adjustments. A lot of it is, yeah.
So the question I'm asking, when we start looking at these businesses, do it benefit you to be a part of these companies, or to freely think and do your own thing?
It does benefit you to be a part of these companies.
Which one you think is better, to have control of your destiny, or to let someone else control your destiny?
That's a vastly different question.
How are you do? So you're saying if you work for, I'm trying to understand your point. Are you saying that if you work for a company, then are you controlled? Is your destiny controlled by your employer? Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Are you saying sure? Yes. Like that's. I'm trying to understand the point that you're trying to make here, so I can respond.
I get you want me to give you the solution, but I want you to freely think.
Solution. No, I'm trying to ask. No, I'm trying to get a clarification of what you're proposing.
Well, let me ask you. I got you. Let me ask you.
Oh my gosh, you don't want to answer questions for nothing.
You ain't answered my question. You answered my question with a question. Is I'm the only one that I asked you a question?
Clarification of your point. A clarification of, like, me asking for a clarification is me not answering the question with a question.
No,
I'm trying to understand what you're saying so I can respond.
I don't want to tell where I stand on this conversation. I don't want to give you an out. Right. So if you please tell me, could you answer the question? do people have a better chance of creating their own destiny than putting their destiny in the hands of these other corporations?
Either, man, I'd say that this bridges the gap for them, especially in tech, to become their own entrepreneurs and their own like facilitate their own self I guess operations and things, because you'd have to learn how to be an employee in order to lead for
That
future
wasn't his
employees if you want
question.
to be in.
That wasn't his question.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I would say it depends on the people. I mean, I'm just going, it might insult some people, but I'm just telling the truth. There are some people that I see that definitely need to have somebody running them.
This is ridiculous. Why you being so nice?
If they control their own destiny, it would be a complete car wreck.
Exactly. So most people, we're going to say upwards of 75, 80%, I'll even push 90 if you want, absolutely are better off with their jobs than trying to figure out it on their own. Get that job, player. Get that job.
So, Aaron, what you said is 90% of people need to be sheep and 10% of the people need to be free thinkers.
Sure. Yeah. I know what. Well, I take that back.
There's so many things.
Your
You
question,
threw that sheep in there, though.
No.
So it's like
his
and
questions
that's why
are changing from point to point.
And that's why I asked for
this is a
clarification.
different
'cause
statement. But
that's
I'm
why
willing
asking
to
for
answer it
clarification,
because it's
'cause
the
I'm like, what is he
man show. I ain't
saying?
gonna fight you. Yeah, they don't need to be that way, but I would say because they are, that it's more beneficial for them to take that damn job. Yeah.
He is equating working for an organization as someone who is putting their destiny in someone else's hands, and free thinkers as individuals who do not work, like entrepreneurs.
Give me 1 second. Is that you, bro?
Yes, sir.
Like an entrepreneur isn't necessarily a free thinker just because they don't work for a company, and that's why I was asking for a clarification, because I'm really trying to understand what.
I'm glad you made that point. So you believe?
No, I didn't make a point. I'm making an observation.
That wasn't the point. You just made a point.
Are you
are
you really following me? Like,
I'm just listening to
crazy,
what you're
y'all?
saying. You are. You're little. But listen. The question that we're asking. Hello, you said that. So do you think majority of entrepreneurs are free thinkers?
No.
Wow.
No.
MRM, do you believe that majority of entrepreneurs are free thinkers?
No.
What about you, Jeremiah? You think majority of entrepreneurs are sheep people?
I think majority, yeah, of course, majority.
So majority of them are sheep people.
Yeah, or sheep, yeah, meaning they're not free thinkers.
So how do you become a successful entrepreneur? I should say successful at the beginning, being a sheep person.
Well, I would say you can be a sheep under a person that actually helped you develop the skills to actually go out and then become an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurship does not equate
you can be a sheep under a company. I'll give you an example. Like right now, oh my God, like in medicine, we were taught that through orthopedic surgery, there's one way of doing a knee replacement. And that right there became the solid gold standard. Well, up in Chicago, there's this doctor, Dr. Hamburger. He figured out a way, and he also has his engineering degree as well. And he designed and patented his own components. He go in and do a knee replacement through the medial side or the inside of a knee. And when he does it in the particular ways that he uses, that patient is up the same day going up and down stairs versus the traditional way going through the anterior portion. That person can be up within a certain amount of hours, but they're not going up and down those stairs. And they don't have full range of motion. So what I'm saying therefore is that as an orthopedic surgeon, he absolutely followed the standard at first, but then also because he felt like, man, what if we go into a different direction? Would that change things up? And it worked. And so now, as far as entrepreneur goes, he's entrepreneur because those components belong to him and his patent and it's his.
That makes
He
sense.
works for a company.
He said he
works for a company. Yeah.
Who?
Are you talking about the person with the patent? Person with the
like,
patent.
like the patent and all that, the company is his that sells those patents.
Ooh, Gabe, you spoke too soon. You should have waited for that comment.
If you heard the tone of it, it was really asking the question. I said, and he works for a company.
You was not asking the question. You made a statement and then MRL questioned it. Then
That was a declaration, Gabe. You gotta admit.
No, it was really asking a question. Y'all not really catching on. Like,
No,
I don't
hey,
understand.
Gabe, you said, yeah, he worked for a company. Then you said,
No.
who? Then you said, he worked for a company? That was your tone. Jeremiah, am I off?
I think I agree with Eda, man. It sounded like a declaration, Gabe. You didn't say, but does he work for a company?
Any agreeing with Eda, man, is proof that you're a free thinker.
Sure. Another side mission.
Would you say that Jeff Bezos is an example?
Yeah, all right. Get back to it. Go ahead, man.
Would you say that Jeff Bezos is a good example of an entrepreneur who did, yes, he was a businessman who did a specific thing, but would you say that he went against the status quo as an entrepreneur?
He was very much an employee, but we'll continue on.
Okay. Well, I'm just asking, just trying to figure out, trying to get a basis here of who's a free thinker in the business world or not. What about Steve Jobs? I think we can all agree Steve Jobs challenged the status quo and was definitely an unorthodox.
Is that how we define it? Challenging the status quo? That make you a free thinker? Is that because I'm not talking about you, Jeremiah, by the way. I'm just wondering because we have never got to a baseline of what it was.
I think that's a healthy
you know what? I would say to an extent, I would say as a gosh, how can I say this? I would say like as you can use that as a partial little bit of the definition of what a free thinker is the kind of challenge the norms. I would say that would be something I would consider to be a free thinker because you don't fall into the blueprint of what everybody does and what they've always done. And again, I can only attribute it to medicine. There was a time where if athletes got injured on the field, sprained the ankle, twisted the knee, they would put them in warm water and Epsom salt. That went on for numerous of years before people found that absolutely Epsom salt and heat after an acute injury, absolutely 100% cause you to have way more inflammation versus using the ice. You know what I mean? So whoever it was that came along and said, wait a minute, I'm dipping it in some ice or cold water, and the swelling went down and the inflammation went down. And then because of the effects that the ice have on the nerves, now that signal is not going back to the brain saying, hey, it's hurting down here. So not only did it take down the swelling and inflammation, it caused it to stop hurting as well. So whoever came up with that, at first, it was always heat and Epsom salt, no matter what the injury was.
I think Eda man then pissed off JJ because JJ cannot stand when we don't have defined things. So he sent you a definition. Eda man, can you please read the super chat?
No. Yeah, I was about to ask for that definition.
Somebody gonna read the super chat. It's covering my face. I can't see it.
Chopping it up.
I can hear what you say, Aaron.
JJ Carver with the $10. A free thinker critically evaluates beliefs independent of tradition and authority. They value reason and open-mindedness. They do not blindly accept things and question everything. Example, innovation.
Oh, Eda man is definitely innovative. Tell him, Eda man.
I'm definitely innovative. We're going to leave that conversation right now. I can always guarantee you that.
What have you?
I'm not gonna. That's what's gonna make me stay innovative and keep my secrets to myself.
I say Gabe more innovative than you. I got $10 on it.
I agree. He's recreating codes right now. He's not following those other people's teachings. You're right.
What? What are you talking about? Like, what are you trying to take slick shots or something? Because make it direct for me, so I know how to respond. Make it very direct for me.
Hey, Gabe, I want to say this. This is my favorite.
I don't even know.
This is my favorite interaction with me and you. Hands down. We have been on the panel plenty of times before, but this was my favorite. Hands down.
This is the most. This is the most confusing one.
We are tracking that you're confused. No, I think everybody on the
panel. You were confused by my statement. This is the most confusing interaction. Got to use some context clues there. So I'm not confused. I'm saying this is the most confusing interaction between me and you. That's what I'm saying.
So you don't think that you're confused?
No.
Interesting. All right, cool. So, but you believe that people should be sheep people, or should people be free thinkers? Okay, for the record.
Should people be sheep people, or should people be free thinkers? It's really preferential. I think free thinking does drive more innovation, like the brother mentioned in the super chat. It does drive more of thinking outside the box and going away from the norms. But at the same time, sheep people keep things running. So you a utility organization, right? The electrical grid is ran and operated on a day-to-day basis by sheep, people that are just repeating processes. You talk about your vehicles on the assembly line. Those individuals are just repeating processes over and over again, sheepishly, right? Not sheepishly, but like sheep. So I think sheeps keep society at working regularly, but free thinkers innovate. So I think that there does need to be a combination of the two within the society.
I'm definitely a free thinker.
What makes you a free thinker?
Well, well, like Gabe was talking about, like traditional things that's that's been pretty much been recycled, over the years. I'm a type of guy, if I can find a solution, find a problem which still has that same traditional, that I want to say that traditional recycling. I kind of look at it like this, like I can definitely figure out solutions to those problems, right? So if it's dealing with like okay, like with cars, right? Like pertaining to like the automobile industry, like gas cars. Well,
I got you. Hold on. But you confused Gabe. You got to start over, and you got to make it more direct because I don't think he's following.
My bad. I was walking and talking. My bad. But I say with myself, man. I kind of look at everything around me. Everything around me is pretty much traditional. I have a startup myself, and I realized that taking having a free thinking mind, to be able to disrupt certain, traditional models. I kind of think about that every day, looking at problems around me.
I got you. You think about free thinking every day. So my question is, do you have a job?
Yeah.
Why?
To sustain my living until I raise capital.
And then when you raise capital, what would you do?
Quit my job.
But what would you do?
Take on it full time.
What would you do with the capital?
It's a lot of things. Hire more talent, marketing, spending more money, towards product. And the list goes on, even man, with that.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to figure out is how are you going to effectively go from sheep people to free thinking?
And that's what I'm saying. That's wrong. You're not a free thinker just because you're an entrepreneur. You don't work for a company. Like, why are you doing that?
I think if you stay in your mom's basement, you one of those 18-year-olds that comes up with like $1 billion idea, and you don't have no responsibilities. That's the only way it'll work out, to be honest with you.
Oh no, let's go back. I'm trying to figure out. Hold on. Do you think people with job are sheep people, or you think that they're free thinkers? Answer the question. I'm not asking really tough questions.
They're
basic
myself
and elementary.
Sheep, but I'm not really.
No. Just answer the question. Let's remove you from the situation because you special. I know you special, but I'm saying, do you think that people with jobs are either free thinkers or do you think that they are sheep people? The majority.
100% sheep.
100% sheep. So my question is, if those are sheep people, how do you go from sheep people to free thinking?
And it's so crazy you say this because some employees that I've how I want to put this, inspired to be their own entrepreneur, start a company. I realize, like you said, answering your question, how do I convert somebody, from a sheep to, a free thinker? It's just they have to see it. They have to wake up. They have to see everything that's around them. They have to understand like how the matrix work and how to get. They gotta want to get out of it, right? Some people, they're just too comfortable, or like I said, they want to. Help me on the word, guys. I just lost train of thought. Those people that just don't want to let go of a job,
I got you. Well, let me ask you a question. Can I buy your free thinking?
This is
Yeah, they do it
what
all
are
the
you-
time.
What is this? What does that even mean?
They sell courses.
So
What is can I buy your free thing? What does that mean, Eda man? Are you just winging this?
I
These
will.
questions are
I will.
these questions are helmety. Really?
Well,
Like,
let me tell you what it
can
means.
I buy your free thinking? What does that mean? I'm sorry.
I think you
This
can.
is just
So let me ask
Buy
you.
free thinking.
Well, let me answer your question. Can I offer you enough money that you think inside of the bubble? Can I offer you enough money where you stop thinking outside of the bubble? For example,
no.
if I offered you 175,000 to do it in my company and in my way, would you do it versus going out and doing it your own way?
No. I
So you
wouldn't.
say you say you'll turn it down?
Of course. If I know that I can disrupt this guy's company, I'm going to do that, you know?
But how do you equate that to free thinking, Prolific? Like, why? How is that buying your free thinking? What is?
Maybe I'm tired of being a part of the plan. You know what I'm saying? I just want to create my own. Being a
I
part of
think
the game, I want to
That's
create my own
offering
game.
you employment. That's offering you employment. That's not buying free thinking.
I think that you're tired of being a part of the plan because you're not getting paid enough.
I want to own my own.
So
I will
you
say
said that if you had, hold on one second, if you had two options to go out and do your own thing for 40,000 or to go and work for a company for 150,000, you'll choose the 40,000?
I choose the 40. I use the 40,000 as me bootstrapping my company to make
How
more
you gonna
than that
bootstrap your company
175.
with 40,000?
Okay.
So,
all right.
Okay,
I'm
real
right
quick,
with you
Eda
on that,
man. When
Eda
you just
man.
asked that question, I would say to convert from sheep to free thinker, it happens all the time. If you
It
think
does.
about it, it happens all the time. And the reason is because the people who are down there on the floors, who are considered to be the sheep, by them being in that environment all the time, they look at and see things that the people that are higher up can't see. And when they come up with this idea how to make something easier, then that's when the innovation comes in, the invention comes in. They'll pitch that to somebody. They have the idea, but they might need an engineer to draw it up for them. You know, different folks that come in and know the mathematics and the physics behind a lot of these things, and they can make that absolutely 100% they're worthwhile. So, like when you just asked him that, if you offered me $175,000 to come and do it at your job, I would do that while I'm still having my ideas generating in my head and using that money that you're paying me a lot more to go and outdo you.
How are you equating this employment to free thinking? Like, how are those two linked? Is
I
just
think
being employed by a company equated to being a sheep and
I
being?
think we came to an agreement about
No, we
30
didn't.
minutes.
No, we didn't.
So
We did not come
in
to
my
an agreement that
hold
said
on, correct me if I'm wrong. If we said 90% of the people that are employee were sheep people and 10% was free thinkers. Did we
Who said
talk? Me
that?
and Aaron talk about that earlier.
All right.
I
Okay.
thought it was
we
more or
did,
less of
yeah.
something like, would you say that most of the people who are working, I think I don't know how exactly, I don't know the exact word for it, but I think where we were going on with that is saying that the people who are working, that 90% of them that are working, they need to have somebody over them having them do their job.
No.
Otherwise, if you left them to be by themselves, it would be a complete wreck.
I don't know why y'all you using all these words. He said are entrepreneurs free thinkers, and we all said no.
Yeah, we said they're sheep.
That's
The
what
90%
we
were
said
sheep.
before. Yeah.
So I believe that it's more entrepreneurs that's free thinkers than employees. Is that a safe thing to say?
Wait, repeat that. My bad.
I think that more entrepreneurs are free thinkers than employees. Is that a free thing to say?
No,
It
because
depends on what
entrepreneurs were once
context.
employees, I believe.
It's hard. Wait, hold on. Let me jump in for a second. It's hard to equate that. I will say this. If you listen to entrepreneurs, what they do is they don't reinvent the wheel. They copy what somebody else does and do a slight little spin and make it there. That's pretty much like a sheep with glasses on, right? Like they not really, there's no ingenuity there in most cases. The only distinction you can make is like visionaries, right? When they highlight a CEO and says he's a visionary, right? And then he's like the creator and does stuff, kind of like innovation, right? But when you say entrepreneurs, Well, no, they just follow like a pathway that they read in a book sometimes and say, hey, I read this, my brain interpreted this, I can copy this to the T and put a slight twist on it. Nothing about that says free thinking to me. Now, I would agree that they don't go conventional routes on the way that they do things, but I could make an argument against that they're
most entrepreneurs go conventional routes. People with merch companies and sell T-shirts, those are entrepreneurs.
Yes, I can make
they
an
have
argument
restaurants.
so give a little bit more detail to your
Hold
perspective.
on, I want you to answer my question first, Aaron.
I can't
So
because I got to drop down so Lamar Black can come up.
Hold on, wait for this because I want you to answer this question. Actually, bring Lamar up. Lamar, be good. You right. Bring him up.
Lamar up. I'll be back with if someone get knocked.
Sorry about that. I didn't know it was just 6 people panel.
No, you good. We want people to wait. So let me ask you a question because I believe that you over there with the smart people, so maybe you'll tell the truth, right? So the question that I want to ask you, right? Do you believe if you had to say what group has the more free thinkers? Would you say entrepreneurs are more free thinkers than employees? Which one would you say is more free thinking?
I would say the sheep.
What? You didn't answer my question. You did not answer.
The employees. Okay, look, listen. The employees. Most inventions are built because somebody had a problem. He was in the field working. They said, "I need a better way to do this job." So those people, those employees, a lot of them come up with a better system to do a job, and that's innovation.
And what does those employees do after they come up with a better solution? Typically.
Then they might transform it to entrepreneur. No. Check it out.
So if they was a free thinker, hold on.
They're creative.
Go ahead.
No, check it out. There are some people that are creative, right? And there are some people that are not. We need both of those people. But y'all just trying to think everybody that's smoking weed free thinking. Oh, I'm free thinking. It's not always successful to be a free thinker.
We're not talking about the success of the free thing. I just want you to answer the question, right?
Okay.
So you believe if I gave you 2 groups, if I gave you 100 employees and I gave you 100 entrepreneurs, which one of these groups would I get more free thinkers in?
I would say the entrepreneurs maybe. But most entrepreneurs are copiers. They're just copying off the system.
It's no right or wrong answer. Okay. I'm just trying to get my questions answered. So, MRM, if I gave you 100 entrepreneurs and I gave you 100 employees, which one do you think I would get the most free thinkers in?
Difficult. I'm rolling with employees.
Employees. Okay, cool. So, employees 1, entrepreneurs 1. Okay. What about you, Gabe? Which one do you think you'll get the most out of?
So, I don't even want to give credence. I don't want to answer because I really don't want to give credence.
Okay, that's your right. You don't have to answer the question. Jeremiah, which one do you think that we're gonna get the most free thinkers in?
You know what? I'm gonna say employees too, because they, the reasoning behind that is employees typically like to cut corners and stuff. They're gonna find the more efficient routes. Entrepreneurs, as Aaron said, they're pretty set in their ways.
So are you trying to compare being lazy with being a free thinker?
Yeah, the laziest people are often the smartest. They're gonna find a way.
I swear.
Prolific. Appreciate you, Gabe, for coming. Appreciate you being a good sport.
He didn't want to pick though.
So, Prolific, let me ask you a question, right? Do you believe that more entrepreneurs are free thinkers if I took a group of 100, or you think it'd be more employees?
I'll say entrepreneurs, man, because employees finding a diamond in the rough is like, I say probably be 1 or 2 of them where you got like 100 entrepreneurs, you can choose, I can choose like 50, that probably have, great disruptive ideas.
I agree. I think if I took 100 employees, the one who found the one thing to innovate the whole warehouse is 1%. It's that out of 100 employees, there's one guy who said they was going to do it. The more of a free thinker, and the other 99 in that warehouse will be sheep people, right?
Exactly.
But if I was to take 100 entrepreneurs, what Aaron was talking about earlier, he was talking about, an entrepreneur, they find a way to do something that is currently being done, or they find an idea that's currently being done. And what they do is they just change a couple things, right? That's free thinking, right? So when we really break this thing down, Uber was an example of, we had already had a system where people were transferring people from one destination to another destination called a taxi. Uber really did the same thing that taxis did, but it was more of a free thinking way to be able to reevaluate how that thing is doing. Just because I'm doing the exact same thing does not mean that I'm not free thinking and coming up with new solutions. Do y'all disagree with that?
I do to an extent. And the reason
do.
why is because shows like Shark Tank.
I agree.
I mean, no, seriously though. No, what I'm saying that for is, again, like I had to do a rotation we had to go into a factory actually when we was doing our ergonomics rotation. And in that factory, our number one job was to go in there and talk to the employees and ask them, how can we cut down on workman's compensation? So all the, what we call at Caterpillar, what they call the white hats, they're not down there on the floors at all. They might walk down there just to, hey, how you doing? For do and all that, but they're not down there in those workspaces. So when we went down there to do the ergonomics and just talk to the employees, they were the ones telling us, oh yeah, so in other words, what were the most injuries y'all were getting? Shoulder injuries, back injuries, whatever. So what do y'all think need to happen? Well, if we had something to where we didn't have to reach as high, but they said they can't get it to lower down. So okay, so what if y'all shifted the shelves and y'all angled the shelves to where every time y'all pull one, something slid forward and y'all put a lip right there? See, it was these employees that was coming up with these ideas, and then we go back and talk to the white hats about this. And then whenever they did that, that's when a lot of the ideas on those factory floors became actually a thing. So at this particular company, Caterpillar, majority of a lot of the things that they have there as far as the technology goes, different things there, those came from, they told us like over 80% of that came from the employees down there on the factory floor.
But I don't think that's free thinking. Let me express why I say what I say, right? If I keep bumping my toe and you ask me how to stop bumping my toe, you need to create a device to stop me from bumping my toe. I don't look at that as free thinking. What it is, it's a problem that I'm running into every day, and I just want to fix the problem.
Well, if you don't, like, for example, if you don't know anything about body mechanics and these people are trying to figure out who called us in to do this rotation, why our employees keep getting hurt, did y'all go and ask them? So yeah, we talked to them and they said they got hurt because they was trying to pick up something, but we had them do a fitness test and say, you got to be able to lift more than 50 pounds. It's like, okay, well, that's cool. Well, how were they lifting it? They just picked it up. Y'all problem is they're using wrong body mechanics. So that's what I'm saying. That thinking came, that had to come from the employees. So the employees don't, because exactly, the employees don't know. You don't know that you're getting ready to injure your back when you go to pick something up. And then most of the time you don't even know how. All I know is I bent down, I felt the pop. I don't know what I did. I don't know. But all we know is that they keep getting injured. If they got people that are injured, they're losing money because these people can't come in and work. And then they also have to pay that workman comp bill. So what's going on down there on the floors? Well, we can't figure out why they keep getting hurt. Well, you talk to the employees and yeah, so if y'all, and that's what they did. It's so neat of all the different things they came up with in that factory to compensate for the employees, and they cut down on their injury list drastically. And that was because of the employees saying this is what we should do and this is how we should do it.
I feel like traditional banks and crypto is a great example of free thinking.
I'm gonna use my free thinking to read the super chats. T.O. says, sheep F that, my ninja. I'm a goat. Shout out to T.O. The goat. Dirty Dude says, to one of the hardest working men in these YouTube streets, eat a man. JJ Carver says, of course we gonna ignore the definitions again. He from the South, JJ. Let it go. If I open a t-shirt shop, is that free thinking? Of course, because you didn't conventionally go to work at Burger King. How much critical thinking goes into copying other businesses? A lot, because a lot of people don't do it. Why else there's not more entrepreneurs, huh, JJ? Compare that data. Ooh, which one's free thinking, data or data? I don't know. Data scientists right now engineering autonomous war vehicles. I ain't going to war.
So
T.O. says a lot of entrepreneurs hires Innovators. Oh, I got it. I
Innovators.
sounded it out. Ooh, I'm smart. Innovators and Bob the Builders to figure out a way to fix their problems.
I would say more of a choir.
So, but I want to ask
choir-
MR, I want to ask MRM this. Do you believe that Mark Zuckerberg is a free thinker? I'm just curious.
Knowing his story, no. Not
Okay.
not in the sense of all that happened with Facebook just came solely from him. But I would
No,
say, wait. I would say yes. He was part of a group of free thinkers. There we go.
Zuck is listen. Zuck is a genius, bro. I know that you could critique. Trust. You know me. I gravitate to those. Like Zuck is something special, man. He's something special, and we haven't even seen it yet because he was so young at his success rate at such a young age that when we make comparison to these other people that are just like have years and years of success, we don't see it, man. He's gonna be something special, man. He's special.
That's true.
But I'm a little biased because Zuckton supports your boy. Did a little bit.
So, I want to be transparent. I do think that companies have free thinkers. I think it's just such a small population of them. For example, Henry Ford. When Henry Ford was creating the engine, he had to first of all, he had to be a free thinker himself. And he had to have somebody have the vision of being able to create something that never been created before. But that's such a small group of people when we talk about the employees.
I think it was already created. I think he made the assembly line. He made a better way to build cars and faster way and make it cheaper for the normal people.
So, are you saying that Henry Ford doesn't have an engine that's unique to Ford back in the
Model
day?
T?
Yes.
I'm about out. I'm for like looking up stuff.
I think what Lamar was trying to say that he mastered economies of scale. So like more people can like have that rather than like building a car, customly or however they did it back then.
He still created something that was totally different from anything else we saw.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's
I
not
don't
the
think
point.
he created the car itself.
Yeah, wait. What do you think? What do you think he's legendary for?
The Model T.
Model T.
No. He's not legendary.
He's famous
for
for it,
He's legendary for the system in which he implemented and how fast he can create cars in this factory layout. Not the goddamn car. Who gives a
I
damn
said
about
that
that?
before, right? That's what I just said.
Well,
We don't listen to you. Your name's Lamar Black Attack.
Aaron, I'm about to write this down.
Well,
This might seem weird to y'all. That's the first time I ever heard you cuss.
I didn't.
Oh, he cussed. I'm doing a good job.
2 times. I never heard it. Let it be written this day.
What I say?
And he's not even annoyed. That's what's amazing.
I don't know what I say, MRM.
You said the D, and then you said got D.
Oh, I say damn.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. I never heard it before.
Yeah, I say damn.
Wow.
Yeah, I your goddamn mom. Yeah, I say damn.
Yeah, I never heard it before, Aaron. That's wow.
Yeah.
Last day in November. Whew.
Yeah, they said a black man invented the car. Black man invented everything. Right,
but it wasn't a friend.
I think they do give that to a black
Look,
man.
Aaron is a free thinker. He doesn't swear, okay?
Which is good. I'm learning off Aaron for those bad words.
All right, cool. So I want to go to this business investment. I really want you guys to tell me if y'all think that these are good investments or bad investments. And because I'm curious to see how you guys think about what this young gentleman right here is actually talking about. Okay. So let's dive a little bit deeper to see what he's talking about. The 10 key business investments.
One of the buckets we talk about is business investing, fractionalized ownership in businesses. How you now could become a fractionalized owner in business, how you could become a venture capitalist, how you could become an angel investor. When you're investing.
So, and when we first talk about angel investing, let me ask you a question, Aaron. Do you believe? Well, let me back up. Let me ask this question: have everybody read the book "The Richest Man of Babylon," or no?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the best book ever written.
I agree.
If you can't read, it's on audio also on YouTube. If you can't read,
Well, I can't read, so I should listen to the audio. You right.
It's called what?
The Richest Man of Babylon. All right. So I don't want to. I don't want to go into details, right? So, but long story short, it talks about investing and how to build wealth in this book. Okay. Um, that is the most simplest way I can say it to do it. So, based off that first investment, that first advice, do you think that it's smart to be an angel investor? Aaron O.
Is it smart to be an angel investor?
Mm-hmm.
If you qualify for it, sure. Yeah, I think it's a good idea too. If you can participate, do it. I think you're gonna you have the potential to make a lot of money, but they lose a lot of money as well. A lot of people don't really talk about that part, but I definitely think if you qualify for it, you absolutely should get involved. That's where a lot of money is made before like even companies go public. But yeah, I think it's a good idea.
MRM, do you think it's a smart idea to be an angel investor?
If you definitely got the means and the funds to risk, yeah.
So you said that only. It sounds like what y'all guys are saying is that only person who should be angel investors are people who are already successful.
No, the people who can afford the risk.
Who can afford to risk it?
No, that's what I'm saying, either man. I think the layman, I don't think they should be because like they don't have the capacity to take on such like risk level or whatever.
Let's play a little bit more about these business investments.
Investing in these companies, you're investing in crowdfunding. We have all the crowdfunding platforms in the book that you can look at and go to and figure out which ones you want to invest to. I have 10 rad keys, 10 things that you have to pay attention to when you're doing this. If they don't fit these 10 keys, then you need to be worried. And each of these things changes your risk tolerance. If they check all 10 boxes, you're probably low risk on your risk tolerance. If they don't check all the boxes, they get closer and closer to high risk. The first of the rad keys is like, what is the founder's story? Just because.
Do you think the founder stories make a difference in whether you should invest or not?
The team plays a huge part.
It absolutely can. Absolutely can.
What about anybody else? Do you think the founder story makes a difference?
I need to know their background, but that's about it, though.
A lot of the times when you're investing into companies prior to them going to public markets, you're taking a bet on the leader of the company. You're taking a bet on that CEO. A lot of stuff is not necessarily proven on a long period of time. So you're literally taking an investment in that person that leads the company. So a lot of the times those stories matter to those investors.
I think you made a mistake that the founder is the leader of the company. Let me give you an example, right? McDonald's. The founder and the innovator is not the same person.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant. You're speaking to does their story matter? And I'm saying a lot of the times it's going to matter because when you're looking to invest in something, if the founder is still part of the company, if they're involved in any of the things, it's going to matter to most people. Now, you can then say the founder is an idiot and he's dumb and we brought in somebody who's way smarter than him. Sure. But I think that comes with a lot. I don't think a lot of people have that much information on these companies prior.
That's true.
Let's play a little bit more.
Somebody has a great idea. Doesn't mean that their founder story is going to make you successful. When I make an investment into a business, I want to know they have a track record and history of success, but I also want to know they have a track record and history of success in the industry that I'm investing in.
Does that matter? Do it matter? Do they need to have a success, a history and success in the industry that they're currently in?
Venture capitalists, they look at do you have expertise in the space?
Before you played that, I literally wrote down right here. I said, I look at this the same way people look at us. They want to know what our success rate is, what our track record is when it comes to patients. And they can care less about how hard it was for me to get through school. They just want to know how many surgeries have you done? How successful were they? How many treatments have you done? How many it is? That's what they want to know.
True.
And if
I will
it has a high
bet.
success rate, they'd be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
he seems to have a high efficacy. So I want to go with him.
What I will bet on is if you have success in your past and you never did this, I will bet on you. I think we see this on Shark Tank. People come in that they have made money with in the past. They see that they can be successful at building a business, even though they're going into a new space. I think you being successful speaks a lot of facts to the story, period.
But that it's
Well, there
still
was this one guy that went there with the wine, and they didn't take him, and they didn't take him. He went out and completely murdered out there in the wine.
The
He
reasons
killed
for
it.
that though, MRM, I don't even know which episode that was. Two things matter. Let's say I'm an angel investor, but I have expertise in the field that you're pitching to me. Even if I don't think you're the smartest guy in the world, right? If I'm able to invest in the company and we make an agreement that I can put people in place that you don't even need to be great in the industry. I
Yeah,
can.
that's true.
Now that's not necessarily saying that you want to be that much hands-on. It really just depends on if it's worth doing that. That's why a lot of people, if they have expertise in a certain industry, they're like, I can see this. That kind of matters. But in most cases, they don't want to have to be hands-on, right? But I agree with E. Success in other areas, because a lot of times we are crafting new industries that have never been broached before. So you kind of correlate their success in other areas and go, okay, you're taking a gamble most of these times anyway.
Pretty much.
Let's press play.
To invest in real businesses, not just good ideas. Now, you heard that with founder stories, but it's important for you to pay attention to a business that already makes an income, already has a P&L, already has a business model, already has a progressive plan on how they're going to become profitable is very different than somebody who says, I have this shiny object. It can actually make people transport from here to the moon. Third ride keys, stay away from unicorns. You now could become a
I
fraction.
messed that up. So the question that I'm gonna ask you is, do you think the best thing to do? Because he talked about angel investing, and then he went back and started talking about investing in real business. Do you think that investing in real business is something that's necessary to make this decision on if you're going to invest or not?
I think investors want to look. How want to say it? Investors, they want to see traction. So, and of course, you validating that demand, and that would pretty much give them a push of writing that check to you if they see the traction and oh, people buying this, or they helping you build this, or they really need this product.
Let's play.
Invest in real businesses, not just good ideas. Now, you heard that with founder stories, but it's important for you to pay attention to a business that already makes an income, already has a P&L, already has a business model, already has a progressive plan on how they're going to become profitable is very different than somebody who says, I have this shiny object. It can actually make people transport from here to the moon. Third ride keys, stay away from unicorns. Things that really couldn't exist. If you're going to go super high risk bucket, maybe you invest in a unicorn.
Should I not invest in unicorn business?
I disagree. Like you said, it's a higher risk in a unicorn. So you may make your investment minimal.
It depends on how much money you got. To be honest with you, if you got $2 million to throw away, and it's like 50 new seed round companies or pre-seed, you can spread that out, and make your odds a lot greater of hitting at least one or two.
I say if you know the industry, you can invest in a unicorn. But for example, if someone works in food manufacturing and they just happen to have like a hot tip, or they happen to know someone who's like pioneering a specific innovation, it would be more likely that you would be susceptible to take that chance. But if you have no idea and you're just relying on it just off of a hot tip or just to make some money, that's foolish.
He's right. He's right.
So, but what is a unicorn?
A unicorn is not in the industry, I don't think.
A company that does over 100 million in revenue, and it's valued at 1 billion.
So let me ask you a question. Do we believe Microsoft was a unicorn?
Yeah.
Do we believe that Amazon was a unicorn?
Yep.
Definitely.
Do we think Facebook was a unicorn?
Yep.
Sure.
No, they had other platforms already before
MySpace.
Facebook.
Hold on. We got one person who disagree with that. So you believe that MySpace and Facebook are kind of the same thing?
No, not at all.
No. Let them speak. We got time. We'll be patient. Lamar.
Oh, are you talking to me? Okay. Oh, okay. No, what I'm saying is those kind of platforms did exist. What Mark did, he has made it better because he did it in a more personal way. Like it's like a closed society. This is my friends. These are my picture. It made it more like exclusive. Like I want to add you to my friend. So I don't know
Well, let
much
me
about
ask you a question,
MySpace.
Lamar. How
Hmm.
many times has Facebook or Mark Zuckerberg taken his company and pivoted so that it stays on top as a market leader?
No, I agree with the. No, I agree with Facebook, but I'm saying that it wasn't like it didn't. It wasn't the first platform that existed like that. That's what I'm saying.
It's Facebook was definitely the first of its kind. Like if we just take what Facebook was and what MySpace was, it's not even close. The only thing that we'll say that it's the same is that they both was websites.
Right.
And social.
I'm not gonna fight the argument.
So I think
I'll take the L on that one.
MRM was saying that it's almost the same. Facebook and Facebook, yeah, that's crazy. Facebook and Mike, it was almost the same, right?
No, y'all
I was
arguing
throwing
over
a
the
joke in
finished
there when y'all
product.
saying that. I was like, MySpace.
Was
MySpace,
MySpace valued over $1 billion?
American Airlines. Sorry, not American Airlines. American for AOL. I forgot.
But yeah, so last question, right? If you guys enjoyed the show tonight, I know it was different in this space. I know we didn't talk about men and women today. Did y'all guys enjoy the show today?
Yeah, it's something different. I'd say it's a free thinking show.
You think it was a free thinking? What about the rest of you guys? Did y'all enjoy the show today?
I caught it last minute, but yeah.
It's all right.
You need to go back and rewatch it.
Well, honestly, what happened tonight? What happened tonight is literally the type of people I surround myself with all the time. Now I know, we get like sometimes you get the Fight Club complex and everything up here. It's very entertaining, but literally, and I'm not saying this. Most of y'all up on the panel tonight, I know for a fact that I would be able to hang out and talk with y'all because I know it wouldn't just be about BS conversations, whatever like that. We literally are talking about stuff to arrive to a certain conclusion versus just the entertainment aspect of bickering back and forth and nigga this, F this, and B's and hoes don't listen and da 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 da. So
I don't know everybody but Gabe because Gabe was lost most of the night, man.
I don't want to vote. I don't want to pick a
I
side.
feel like these talks need to happen a lot more, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I know that people say it's not drama. I know people might say that I'm monotone. I know that people might say all those things, but I just wanted to have a conversation to make Aaron think and make the chat think. To actually have a chance where people wasn't making an emotional response. They actually had to think about their answers. And that's what I wanted to accomplish tonight. For people to think.
now, what would have been entertaining if you would have had some individuals on here who's used to that Fight Club complex? If you'd have had them up there and you hit some of them with that question, that would have been interesting to see sparks flying out of ears.
Oh yeah, we would have been on here a lot longer.
Yeah,
No,
they try to win.
I think they would have tried to take over the conversation. They would have tried to talk about a lot of people have their own kind of issues and what they want to kind of accomplish here. So they come and derail shows so they can talk about what they want to talk about. If you really kind of understand people' purpose, they have purpose on why they come over and do the things that they do.
And honestly, and I tell y'all a lot, and I mean I say this to Aaron too before. A lot of times, usually when I come on the panel, I always have my mentees tune in. Because what I do that for is that, it's for a lot of specific reasons. It gives us something to talk about the next day or something like that. Because what they get to see is that depending on the topic that's being addressed, they get to see how, for example, it might be a topic on here about fixing the community. And you have all these people coming in saying, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do. And then when the fights break out, they get to sit there and be like, oh my God, like look how out of character this person got, who literally just got done saying, this is what we need to do. We need to come together. But now they already talking about I'm gonna pull up. So I love doing it because they get to absolutely see that honestly, they get to see some people, they get to see the hypocrisy in some folks. They get up here and talk about fixing things, and then they turn around and want to go harm the other person. So I will say there's no names, you know, most of y'all on the panel, when they do watch, they will sit there and say, he seemed to be very consistent no matter what. He seems to always stay in character. Like they never pulled him out of pocket. They never got him out of character. So that's pretty solid. So it's very educational for them as well. So that's what I like about it. So like tonight is one of them things where they already were texting me like, hey, this was really cool what they were doing tonight, man. I like this right here. It needs to be more of this. So that's what my mentees wanted to tell you to the Aaron No show.
Shout out to them. I still had to make it entertaining, you know, because without me, it's gonna be monotone. Like A, B, C, D. I can't.
Yeah, they said the same thing too. That's why I said whenever I joked with you, they started blowing the phone. They was like, "Oh, I never heard Aaron cuss either." Yeah, so you well liked, Aaron.
I feel like this platform can make a lot of free thinkers, though, to be honest with you, to wake up, to be honest.
Well, look at how Edie Man was formulating the questions, though. They were like, man, he asking questions that make us think like what you be doing, Mr. Ty. That's why I say that's why I was loving it. Loved it.
Cool. So we appreciate y'all guys coming over. This was, like I said, an amazing show. We had a lot of dope people come up here to have the conversation. You know what I'm saying? You know, Aaron was like, he was all right. He was like still here. And we had the man from overseas come late. He don't know what's going on, but he was here. Let me get him out of here too. No, but Aaron, yes, I believe that. Do I still want to have conversations? It's about relationship and different things like that. I wouldn't say that I want to get away from that, but every now and then I want to sprinkle a conversation that just make you think. I think that I have saw you thought more tonight than you have thought in any other show, and that was my goal to accomplish. So, anything for the people before we get out of here?
It didn't really require that much thinking. It was just like I was trying to be smart but be dumb just for you, because I didn't want to embarrass myself. No, I had a lot of fun. I like when I have the opportunity to kind of sit back and be more in a supportive role as opposed to the leading role, because I be tired. Like I thought I retired like last week, but it seemed like I just keep doing like the work just keep like they no stopping day, nothing. But yeah, I always enjoy myself. And I think this was a good topic. And I think each week I think you're adjusting, progressing, things like that. So I think it's fun. You still gonna have to learn how to say nimble, right? What's your nimble? Like JJ can't stand that word. He don't even know what that means. So we just having fun. And so hopefully I do my part.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate you for having me over here. Because you didn't have to have me, and I can tell you that I love coming over here doing this show. So appreciate you letting me take over Thursday nights.
You know, we rocking out, bro.